Have you ever woken up in the morning and for just a few seconds felt like you were still in a dream? That feeling where you're not quite sure what's real and what your mind made up is a strange feeling, isn't it? This question, is this all just a dream, has puzzled smart people for thousands of years. It's not just about a dream you have at night, it's about our entire life. What if everything we see, hear, feel, and touch isn't actually real? What if our brain is just making it all up? Like a super long, super detailed dream. Think about it. When you dream, things feel totally real until you wake up. You might fly, or talk to animals, or be in a place you've never seen. But in the dream, it all makes perfect sense. Then your eyes open, and poof, it's gone. Some old Greek thinkers, like a philosopher named Plato, talked about people living in a cave. They only saw shadows on a wall and thought those shadows were the real world. But the true world was outside the cave, full of color and light. It's kind of like that idea, what if our real world is just shadows or even just thoughts in a giant mind? Later, another thinker, René Descartes, wondered if a powerful spirit was tricking him into believing everything was real. He couldn't actually prove it wasn't a dream. So here's the thing. We rely on our senses to tell us what's real. But our senses can be fooled. A magic trick, a mirage in the desert, or even just getting totally lost in a really good movie can make you forget for a moment what's true and what's make-believe. This question doesn't have an answer. We can't prove we're not dreaming, but thinking about it can change how you see things. It makes you notice the small details of your day more. It makes you wonder about the amazing power of your own mind, the one creating all these experiences, whether they're real or not. And that's pretty cool to think about. Have you ever stopped to wonder if what you're seeing, touching, or hearing right now is truly real? It sounds strange. Because a desk is real, your phone is real, and the sky feels undeniably real. But here's the thing. Sometimes our own minds and senses can play tricks on us. This makes us question what real truly means. For thousands of years, people have wrestled with this idea. Ancient thinkers, like those in Greece, wondered if our world was just shadows. What if you only saw shadows on a cave wall, never the real objects making them? You'd think those shadows were real. This asks, are we seeing the truth or just a reflection? Later, thinkers wondered if our minds create reality. If you dream something incredibly vivid, so real you can almost feel it, is that dream real in some way, even if it vanishes when you wake up? Think about an optical illusion. Lines might appear to bend, or shapes seem to move, even though they're completely still on the page. Your eyes see one thing, but your brain knows it's not actually happening. What's real then? What your eyes see, or what your brain knows? This shows how tricky our perception can be. The question of real isn't about finding one easy answer. It's about exploring how we experience the world, how our minds work, and what we can truly be sure of. It reminds us to be curious, to look beyond the surface, and to understand that even solid things might have deeper, more mysterious layers. And that's truly amazing. Have you ever stopped to wonder why your heart races when you're scared, or why a simple song can make you feel deep joy, or even a quiet sadness? It's a profound question, one that touches the very core of what it means to be human. Feelings are more than just fleeting thoughts. They are powerful signals, a kind of secret language spoken between our bodies and our minds. In simple terms, our feelings are how our inner world responds to the outer world and to what's happening inside us too. When something good happens, our brain releases chemicals that make us feel happy. If there's danger, other chemicals prepare us to run or fight. These are not random. They serve a purpose. For thousands of years, people have pondered this mystery. Ancient Greek thinkers, like the philosopher Plato, believed emotions were deeply tied to our soul, influencing our choices and our understanding of the world. They saw courage, for instance, not just as a feeling but as a virtue, a strength that helped people face challenges. It showed that people have always known feelings were powerful and meaningful. Think about a time you were super excited for a school trip. Maybe your stomach felt fluttery, or you couldn't stop smiling. That's your body reacting to the anticipation, getting ready for a positive experience. Or when you feel a wave of calm after a big storm passes, your body is settling, reflecting the quiet outside. Our emotions are like a compass, always pointing us towards what matters, helping us navigate the complex landscape of life. They connect us to each other and to the world around us. So, these feelings, whether they are loud or quiet, are a vital part of who we are. They are gifts that help us understand ourselves and the intricate dance of being alive. Have you ever looked at the path ahead and wondered if there's one single perfect way to walk through life? One map that everyone should follow, no matter what? This isn't about rules you might find in a history book or a set of laws. Instead, it's about something much deeper in our hearts. Figuring out what's truly good, what's kind, and what makes life meaningful beyond just our own happiness. For thousands of years, people have pondered this very question. Is there a right way to act, to think, to be, or is it a path each person must discover for themselves? Way back in ancient Greece, brilliant thinkers like Aristotle spent their lives asking about the good life. For them, it wasn't just about feeling happy all the time. It was about living with a deep sense of purpose, cultivating what they called virtue. They believed that when you chose to act bravely, honestly, or fairly, you were living well. You were building a good character. But then other philosophers came along, suggesting maybe it's more about following your inner voice or doing what creates the most good for the most people. Think about it like this. Imagine you see someone at school struggling with a heavy armload of books, and they drop them. Is the right thing to stop and help them, even if it makes you a few minutes late for class? Or is it okay to just walk by thinking it's not your problem? Many of us would feel a pull to help because it shows compassion and care. But what if helping means you break a small promise you made to a friend? These little moments in our daily lives often make us stop and think because there's no easy, strict answer that fits every situation perfectly. So, maybe there isn't one universal guidebook for living that everyone must follow. Instead, this big question invites us to look inside ourselves with curiosity. It asks us to decide what values truly matter most to us, things like kindness, honesty, courage, or justice. And it gently reminds us that how we choose to live isn't just about our own journey. Our choices ripple out, touching the lives of our friends, our family, and even people we've never met. The adventure of figuring out what feels right for you and how that shapes the world around you is truly one of life's most profound and ongoing explorations. Have you ever truly tried to think about a time before anything? Not just before you were born or before dinosaurs walked the earth. I mean, before the very first thing existed. It's a question that can make your brain buzz a little, right? Because before usually means time was already happening. So what was before that before? This question asks us to think past what we normally understand. We usually think of time as a line, but if the universe had a start, like the Big Bang, what was there before that exact moment? Was it just empty space? Or was space not even a thing yet? Maybe time wasn't even real. We're not asking what was in the universe before it formed, but what was before the start of the universe itself. People have thought about this for thousands of years. Ancient thinkers wondered if something had to always exist, something eternal that started everything else. Some believed a powerful being created time and space. Others thought maybe the universe has always been here, with no true beginning. Even today, scientists studying the Big Bang ask, what came before the bang? It's like trying to find page 0 of a book. But what if there was no paper, no words, no idea of a story yet? The book just appeared. It's a bit like asking what happened before the very first spark of an idea in your mind. Before you even thought it, was it there? Not really. This question shows us that some things are so huge, so basic, they might go beyond what our minds can grasp. It reminds us there's still so much mystery in the universe. That's part of what makes it amazing to think about. We might never know the answer, and that's perfectly okay. It just opens our minds to new kinds of wonder. Have you ever stopped to think about the simple choices you make every single day? Like what shirt to wear, or what to eat for lunch? We feel like we're choosing freely, don't we? But what if those choices aren't as free as they seem? This big idea is called free will. It's the question of whether we are truly in charge of our actions and decisions, or if something else is guiding us. Is it our past, our genes, our brain chemistry, or even just random chance? The concept suggests that we possess the power to pick our own path, that our future isn't already written somewhere. For thousands of years, people have wondered about this. Ancient thinkers ask if a powerful fate controlled everything, like an invisible string pulling us along. Later, wise people started to think about our minds and bodies. If our brains work like complex machines, following rules of science, then are our choices just the outcome of those rules? This is a deep puzzle, making us wonder about our very human nature. Here's the thing. Imagine you are standing in front of a vending machine, deciding between a bag of chips or a cookie. You feel like you're making a clear choice. But did that craving for salt or sugar, your mood, how much sleep you got last night, or even an ad you saw earlier push you toward one? It makes us pause and consider what truly influences our every move. So, are we really the masters of our own destiny? Or are we more like passengers on a journey we didn't plan? It's a question without a simple yes or no. But just thinking about it can make us look at our lives and every small decision in a whole new, reflective way. It reminds us how mysterious and wonderful it is to be human. Voiceover. Have you ever looked in the mirror, really looked and wondered, who is that person looking back? Or maybe sitting quietly, a thought pops up, what even is me? This big question, who am I, is one of the oldest puzzles humans have faced. It's about identity. Here's the thing. Identity isn't just your name or how old you are. It's what makes you uniquely you. Is it your thoughts, your feelings, your memories? Is it your body always changing? Or is it something deeper, something that stays the same no matter how much you grow or what you experience? For thousands of years, people have thought about this. Ancient Greek thinkers, like a wise man named Socrates, famously said, "Know thyself." He believed understanding yourself was key. Later, others wondered if we are just our brains, or if there's a soul that truly holds who we are. Every culture, every generation has wrestled with this idea. Think about your favorite hoodie. Over time, it gets old. You might patch a hole or replace a zipper. If you replaced every part, piece by piece, would it still be your original favorite hoodie? Or is it something new? Our bodies are like that, constantly replacing cells. Our minds learn, forget, and change beliefs. The you who loved toys at 5 is different from the you now, isn't it? Yet, it still feels like you. And that's the beauty of it. Figuring out who you are isn't a simple answer found once. It's more like a journey, a path you walk throughout your life. It's about discovering new parts of yourself, understanding why you feel what you feel, and seeing how you fit into the world. This journey, always unfolding, is what makes being human so wonderfully mysterious. Have you ever looked up at the night sky, at all those countless stars, and felt incredibly small? And then, maybe, wondered if all that vastness even notices us? This feeling leads to a deep question. Does the universe care about us? When we ask if the universe cares, we're not talking about it having feelings like a person. Instead, we're asking if it has any purpose or intention towards us, or if it's just a huge, silent machine that follows its own rules. For a long, long time, people believed the world revolved around them. Ancient cultures often thought the sun, moon, and stars were gods or powerful beings that watched over humans, sometimes helping us, sometimes causing trouble. It felt like the entire cosmos was designed with us in mind, a grand stage just for human life. But then, thinkers like Copernicus and Galileo helped us see that our Earth is just one planet among many, orbiting a star that's just one of billions. This discovery slowly changed our view. We started to see the universe not as a watchful parent, but as an immense place governed by forces like gravity and light, which work the same way everywhere, for everyone and everything. Think about a giant waterfall. It's powerful, beautiful, and sometimes even dangerous. But does the waterfall care if you stand near it? Or if it helps a tree grow? Or if it makes a rainbow? No, it just flows because of gravity and the land it moves over. The universe is a bit like that waterfall. It follows its own deep, ancient laws. It's not trying to help us, and it's not trying to hurt us. It simply is. It doesn't have a mind to worry, or eyes to see us, or a heart to feel for us. This might sound a little lonely, like we're alone in a cold, uncaring space. But here's the thing. If the universe truly doesn't care, then we get to decide what caring means. We get to choose how we act, how we build our world, and how we care for each other and our planet. It means our connections, our laughter, our kindness, These are the things that bring meaning into a vast, indifferent cosmos. It means the care in the universe comes from us. Have you ever wondered what it would be like if everything, everywhere, simply stopped? Not for a moment, but forever. Imagine clocks not ticking, birds not singing, your own thoughts gone quiet. This isn't just boredom, it's true, complete stillness, a state with no events, no changes, no happening at all. For a long time, people have asked what the very end might look like. Ancient thinkers like the Stoics imagined cycles where everything might burn up and restart. But this question is deeper. What if there's no restart? What if the movie truly ends and the screen stays black? Scientists today sometimes talk about heat death for our universe. It's a theory where, far in the future, stars burn out, energy spreads evenly, and nothing new can happen. Just a vast, cold, unchanging emptiness. Think about waiting for something, like a package or a friend's call. There's that quiet feeling. But imagine that wait never ends, because there's nothing left. It's like pressing pause on a video game. But the game is the entire universe, and you can never press play. In that ultimate stillness, no past or future would exist. Time only happens when things change. If nothing ever changes, is there even time? It's a strange, quiet thought, isn't it? But it reminds us that our lives, full of sounds, colors, and new moments, are truly amazing. Every small change, every event is part of a grand story still being written. So perhaps thinking about nothing happening makes us appreciate everything that is happening right now even more. When we see a robot moving or talking, a big question might pop into our minds. Can a machine, built from wires and code, truly think? Or is it just pretending? Thinking feels so human, right? It's not just doing math problems super fast. It's wondering, feeling, dreaming. It's having new ideas that just pop up. A robot can follow instructions perfectly, like winning a game of chess. It can even learn from its mistakes. But is that thinking, or just really advanced calculating? Philosophers and scientists have wondered about this for a long time. Back in the 1950s, a smart guy named Alan Turing asked, if a computer could talk to us so well we couldn't tell it was a machine, would it mean it was truly thinking? He wondered if we could ever build something that could feel or have a sense of itself, like we do. Think about your phone's voice assistant. You ask it a question, and it gives an answer. It sounds like it understands, right? But it's just matching your words to information it has. It doesn't actually feel curious or get excited about finding an answer. It doesn't wonder about its own existence or dream of flying. So, the mystery remains. Is thinking just a super complex set of rules, or is there something more to eat a spark, a feeling, a deep awareness only living things possess? We build machines that get smarter every day, but the quiet, deep world of our own thoughts and feelings, that might be a place they can never truly enter. And that's a beautiful, puzzling thought, isn't it? Have you ever looked at a clock and wondered what it's really measuring? We talk about time all the time, right? I don't have enough time. Time flies. What time is it? But what is time, actually? Is it something real, like a rock or a tree, that exists out there, whether we're around or not? Or is it more like a story we tell ourselves, a way our minds make sense of things happening one after another? Think about it this way. Time helps us put events in order. It lets us say, first I woke up, then I ate breakfast, and after that, I went to school. Without time, everything would just be a jumble. People have puzzled over this idea for thousands of years. The ancient Greek thinkers, for example, really wrestled with it. Some, like a philosopher named Heraclitus, believed everything was always changing, like a river that's never the same when you step into it twice. Time was just this endless flow. But others felt like there was something more steady underneath, and time was just how we saw that steady thing moving forward. Even a wise person from long ago named St. Augustine said something really interesting. What then is time? If no one asks me, I know. If I wish to explain it to him who asks, I do not know. Here's the thing. A clock ticks, but it doesn't make time. It just measures something. Think about when you're playing your favorite video game. An hour can feel like 5 minutes. But if you're waiting for something you dread, 5 minutes can feel like an hour. The clock keeps ticking the same, but your experience of time changes. This shows us that maybe time isn't just a strict, unchanging thing out there. Maybe it's also tied to our feelings, how much attention we pay, and how we live. So, is time just a story? Maybe it's a story we all agree on, a powerful way to organize our lives and understand our place in the world. But knowing that it might be a story, or at least how we tell that story, lets us look at our moments differently. It makes us wonder about the quiet ticking and the vast, unwritten pages of what's to come. It reminds us to think about how we feel the moments we have. Have you ever looked at a quiet sunset or seen light dance on a spider web covered in morning dew and just felt something special? What is it about these moments, or a favorite song, or even a simple smile that makes us say, "That's beautiful"? Here's the thing. Beauty isn't just about how something looks. It's often about how it makes us feel. It's a quiet whisper in your mind, a sense of wonder or a calm peace that settles in your chest. For thousands of years, people have wondered about this feeling. Ancient Greek thinkers, like a philosopher named Plato, believed that true beauty wasn't just about what you could see. They thought there was a perfect idea of beauty, like a perfect shape or a perfect number, and everything beautiful we see in the world is just a reflection of that perfect idea. They loved things that were balanced and in harmony, like a well-built temple or a perfectly shaped sculpture. But over time, people started to realize something important. What one person finds beautiful, another might not. This is where the saying, "beauty is in the eye of the beholder," comes from. It means that how we see and feel beauty is deeply personal. Think about your favorite song. Maybe it's the words or the beat or just how it makes you feel inside when you listen. It's not just the notes, it's how they fit together, how they connect with something deep in you. So beauty isn't just about being pretty on the outside. It's often about finding balance, seeing something new in the familiar, or feeling a strong, positive connection. It's about how something moves us, how it sparks a feeling of wonder or peace. And because it's so personal, that means there's beauty everywhere, waiting for each of us to find it, in big moments and tiny ones too. Have you ever thought about whether something truly happens if no one is there to see or hear it? It's a simple question, but it leads us down a deep path. Imagine a giant tree falling deep in an empty forest. There's no person, no animal, nothing with ears around for miles. Does it make a sound? Here's the thing. Scientifically, when a tree falls, it creates vibrations in the air. These are just pressure waves. But for those waves to become what we call sound, they need an ear and a brain to interpret them. Without a listener, it's just air moving, not a thud or a crash. It's like the difference between light waves hitting your eye and you actually seeing the color red. The light is there, but the experience of red only happens inside your head. Hundreds of years ago, a philosopher named George Berkeley wondered about this. He thought that for something to truly be, it had to be perceived. If a chair is in a room and no one is looking at it, does it still exist? He believed it does, because God is always perceiving it. But for us, it makes us think about our own part in making things real. Our senses are like a filter, shaping the world we experience. Think about a secret you keep. If you never tell anyone, does it truly exist in the same way as a secret everyone knows? It's real to you, in your mind, but its impact on the world around you is different until it's perceived by others. So, when the tree falls, the vibrations are there, but the sound, that's something created in the mind of a listener. It makes us pause and consider the power of our own presence, our own awareness. Our being there, our noticing, often makes things truly come alive. When your dog wags its tail as you walk through the door, or your cat rubs against your leg, do they really know what you're saying? Do they understand your feelings, or just react to your sounds and movements? It's a question that makes us wonder about the minds of other creatures. Understanding isn't just about hearing words. For us, it's about knowing what those words mean and feeling the emotions behind them. So, when we talk about animals understanding us, we're asking if they grasp our thoughts or intentions. For a long time, many thinkers believed animals were like simple machines, reacting without real feelings or thoughts. The philosopher René Descartes, hundreds of years ago, suggested animals didn't have conscious minds like ours. But over time, our view has changed. Many scientists now believe animals have rich inner lives, with emotions, memories, and their own ways of understanding their world. They might not use human language, but they communicate in complex ways. Think about a service dog. They learn hundreds of commands. They can sense when their owner is about to have a medical emergency and react perfectly. Is that just training, or a deeper understanding of their human's needs? Or maybe your own pet, when you're sad, might nudge your hand or just sit quietly beside you, as if they know you need comfort. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Maybe their understanding isn't exactly like ours, filled with complex language. Perhaps it's a different kind of knowing, based on deep connection and feeling. Animals might understand us in ways we're still learning to see, teaching us about empathy and the silent languages of the heart. It's a beautiful mystery, thinking about the bridges we build between our world and theirs. Have you ever stopped to look at the night sky, feeling so small, yet also filled with an incredible wonder? We know our universe is vast, stretching further than we can imagine. But here's a thought that sometimes whispers through the quietest parts of our minds. What if our universe isn't the only one? What if there are countless others, different and unique, existing all around us, unseen? This idea is called the multiverse. It simply means many universes. Imagine our universe, with all its stars and galaxies, as just one bubble in an endless foamy bath. Each bubble is its own complete universe, maybe with different laws of physics, different histories, or even different versions of you and me. It's a concept that feels like pure science fiction, but it's a real question philosophers and scientists have thought about for a long time. People have wondered about other worlds for thousands of years. Ancient Greek thinkers sometimes discussed the idea of many different worlds separate from our own. Later, as science grew, especially in the last century, new theories in physics, like quantum mechanics and string theory, started to suggest that a multiverse might not just be a dream, but a real possibility based on how our universe works. Think about it like this. Imagine you're flipping a coin. It can land on heads or tails. In our universe, it lands on one. But what if, in another universe, every time you flip a coin, it lands on the other side? Or what if, every time you make a choice, like choosing what to wear or what to eat, a new universe branches off, where you made the opposite choice? It's not about magic, but about the sheer number of possibilities that could exist beyond what we can see or touch. This thought can feel both overwhelming and comforting. It reminds us how much mystery there still is in the cosmos. It tells us that our existence, while special, might also be just one small note in an infinite symphony of possibilities, making our small corner of reality feel even more precious. Have you ever stopped to wonder where a new thought truly sparks to life? It's a mystery, isn't it? Like one moment your mind is just there, and the next a whole new idea pops in, fully formed. But where was it before? Did it float in from somewhere? Or was it waiting inside you all along? Here's the thing. Ideas aren't just sudden flashes out of nowhere. They're often like little puzzles, pieced together from things we already know, things we've seen, heard, or felt. Imagine trying to invent a brand new game. You probably don't start from nothing. You think about games you already play, their rules, what makes them fun, and then you twist them around, add new challenges. That's an idea growing. For thousands of years, people have tried to figure this out. Ancient Greek thinkers, like a philosopher named Plato, believed that ideas were perfect, unchanging forms that existed in a separate, special world. He thought our minds just remembered these perfect ideas when we saw a glimpse of them in the real world. So, when you saw a tree, you were remembering the perfect tree idea. But other thinkers believed ideas came purely from our senses, what we touch, see, smell, taste, and hear. They thought our experiences build up in our minds, forming all our thoughts and understandings. So, maybe it's a little of both. Think about how a scientist sees a lot of information, a lot of different data points. At first, it might just look like a jumble. But then, suddenly, they see a pattern, a connection, a new way to understand something big. That's an idea forming. It's built on all the facts they gathered, but also on a flash of insight, a moment of deep thought. Ideas are fascinating. They are like quiet whispers born from our experiences, our memories, and our own unique way of looking at the world. They grow from what we know, mixed with a little bit of magic from our imagination. And that's why they matter so much. Have you ever looked at a close friend or a family member and truly wondered what it's like to be them? What thoughts are spinning in their head right now? Or how they really feel about something? It's a deep question, and it's something people have thought about for thousands of years. Here's the thing. Our minds are like private rooms. Each of us lives inside our own, with our own memories, feelings, and secret thoughts. We can talk about what we're thinking, and we can show our emotions, but those are just echoes of what's truly going on inside. This idea of whether we can truly step into another person's mind has been a big puzzle for thinkers throughout history. Back in ancient Greece, and even more recently in philosophy, people have talked about something called the problem of other minds. Basically, it asks, how do we know other people even have minds like ours? We can't see their thoughts or touch their feelings, right? We only know our own. But here's what happens. We assume they do, because they act like us, they cry when they're sad, and they laugh when they're happy. Think about it like this. Imagine you and a friend both look at the exact same painting. You might see bright colors and feel happy, remembering a sunny day. But your friend might see dark shadows and feel a little sad, thinking about something totally different. The painting is the same, but the inner experience, what's happening in your mind, is completely unique. Even when we try our hardest to understand someone, we're always looking through our own window, hearing with our own ears. So maybe we can never truly know another person's mind perfectly, but that doesn't mean we stop trying. And that's why it matters. The trying is what builds connection. It's the effort to listen, to empathize, to imagine what it's like for someone else that makes us caring and understanding. And in that shared effort, even if we can't unlock every secret, we find a different, beautiful kind of knowing. Have you ever felt a small ache in your chest when something just didn't seem right? Like when the rules of a game suddenly changed mid-play, or someone got praised for work you both did? That feeling, that little voice inside you, is often about fairness. It's a big idea, but here's the thing. What does it truly mean to be fair? It's not just about giving everyone the exact same thing. Sometimes that can actually feel unfair. Instead, being fair often means giving people what they need, what they've earned, or what helps bring things into a true balance for their unique situation. Long, long ago, even ancient thinkers like the Greek philosopher Aristotle thought deeply about this. He talked about justice as a kind of fairness, a way to make sure society worked well for everyone. He believed it was about giving each person their due, not always an equal share, but a rightful share based on their contributions or needs. Think about how we divide chores at home. Is it fair for a tiny kindergartner to clean the entire kitchen just because their older sibling has to wash dishes? Probably not. Fairness there means asking the older one to do more, because they are able to and can handle the task. It's about what's appropriate for each person. So, fairness isn't always about treating everyone exactly alike. It's often about treating people differently, but in a way that truly respects their unique situations, their efforts, and their needs. It asks us to look closely at each person, to listen with our hearts, and to feel what is truly right. This path isn't always simple. It's full of shades of gray, not just easy black and white answers. But when we seek fairness, when we try to make things right for others, we help build a kinder, more understanding world around us. It's a question we keep asking ourselves, and a beautiful, quiet goal we keep reaching for every single day. Have you ever watched a tiny ant busy carrying a crumb, or seen a majestic oak tree reaching for the sky, and wondered, why? Do they have a reason for being? This is a question people have pondered for thousands of years. When we ask if there's a purpose for everything, we're really asking if there's a deeper meaning behind why things exist, or why certain events happen in our world. Is there an ultimate goal for all of it? For a long time, many thinkers, like an ancient Greek philosopher named Aristotle, believed that everything in nature had a natural telos, which is just a fancy word for an end or a purpose. He thought a seed's purpose was to become a tree, and a human's purpose was to live a good, thoughtful life. It was a comforting idea, suggesting that the universe had a kind of built-in plan, and everything was working towards its best self. But over time, other thinkers began to challenge this idea. They looked at things that seemed random, like a sudden storm, or a single falling leaf, and asked if these also had a purpose. It's easy to see the purpose of a spoon. It's for eating. But what about a dream you have that makes no sense? Or a specific cloud formation in the sky? Do they serve a grander design? Or do they just exist? Here's the thing. This question isn't about finding one simple answer that fits everything. It's about how we see the world and our place in it. For some, the purpose is given by something larger than us, like a creator. For others, purpose is something we create ourselves through our choices and what we care about. Maybe the wonder isn't in knowing the purpose, but in the journey of exploring what matters to us. It's a gentle invitation to truly look, to wonder, and to find our own meaning in the vast, beautiful puzzle of existence. Have you ever walked into a room and then, just like that, completely forgotten why you went there? Or maybe you've tried to remember a friend's name, but it simply wouldn't come to you, no matter how hard you tried. Forgetting isn't just about losing information. It's a natural, deep part of how our amazing brains work. Almost like a gentle tide washing away some of the day's footprints on the sand. Our minds are always busy, sifting through countless pieces of information, quietly deciding what to hold on to and what to gently let go. For centuries, people have puzzled over this mystery. Thinkers from long ago, like the ancient Greeks, wondered about memory. Plato, a famous Greek philosopher, imagined the mind as a soft wax tablet. When we learn something new, it's like etching a mark onto the wax. Forgetting, then, would be like those marks slowly fading over time, or even being smoothed over completely to make room for new imprints. Later on, many wise thinkers started to believe that forgetting wasn't a mistake or a flaw, but actually served a very important purpose. Here's one way to think about it. Imagine your brain like a bustling, vibrant city. It's filled with millions of tiny connections, like countless roads and pathways. When you learn something new, a new path is built. But if you don't use that path often, it might get overgrown with weeds, making it harder to find your way back. Or sometimes, the city planners, your own brain, actively decide to close off certain less used roads. They do this to reduce traffic and make the main routes clearer and faster. This helps the whole city run smoothly. Our brains do something very similar. They quietly decide what information is truly important and what can simply fade into the background. If we remembered every single detail of every single moment, our minds would be incredibly cluttered, unable to focus on what matters right now. So maybe forgetting isn't a weakness, but a quiet, powerful strength our minds possess. It allows us to let go of less important things, making precious space for new thoughts, new learning, and even helping us heal from painful memories. It's a gentle reminder that life is about moving forward, about creating new moments, not just holding on to every single one from the past. Our minds are wise enough to clear out the old, so we can truly embrace the new, day by day, breath by breath. Have you ever stopped to wonder if the world around you, with all its vibrant colors and clear sounds, might not be exactly what it seems? What if everything you experience, the desk in front of you, the sky outside, even your own hands, could just be a trick of the mind, a kind of vivid dream you can't wake from? This deep question touches on the idea of an illusion. Here's the thing. An illusion is something that looks or feels real, but it isn't. It's like when your eyes play tricks on you, making two lines look different lengths when they're actually the same. This idea that our senses might be deceiving us isn't new. Thousands of years ago, a famous Greek thinker named Plato explored this very idea. He came up with the allegory of the cave. Imagine people chained inside a cave, only able to see shadows dancing on a wall. They would think those shadows were the only real things, never knowing there was a whole world outside creating those shadows. They saw an illusion and believed it was true. Think about when you're dreaming. In a dream, everything can feel incredibly real. You might be flying or talking to someone you know, and your mind fully believes it's happening. It's only when you wake up that you realize it was all just a picture created by your own brain. Our brains are amazing, but they also interpret everything we see, hear, and touch. So what if our waking life is just another very elaborate dream? This isn't meant to make us doubt every single thing, but to open our minds. It's a way of asking, how do we really know what's real? It reminds us that maybe there are layers to reality we haven't even begun to understand, and that's a thought both humbling and wonderfully exciting. Have you ever stopped to wonder what happiness truly is? Is it a feeling that just washes over you, like a warm wave, only to recede quickly? Or is it something deeper, a quiet strength that settles within your heart, something we can nurture and grow? Often, we chase after happiness in the things outside us. a brand new phone, a perfect grade on a test, or an exciting trip with friends. And yes, those moments can bring us bursts of joy, a bright sparkle in our day. But is happiness just a collection of fleeting good feelings? For thousands of years, wise minds across the world have wrestled with this very question. Ancient Greek thinkers, like a philosopher named Aristotle, didn't see happiness as just a temporary emotion. He believed true happiness, what he called eudaimonia, was about living a life of purpose and flourishing. It meant using your unique talents, acting with kindness, and striving for wisdom. It wasn't about quick thrills, but about a deep, lasting sense of meaning that came from being true to your best self. Other groups, like the Stoics, thought happiness came from finding peace within yourself, from accepting things you couldn't control, and focusing on your own thoughts and actions. For them, real contentment blossomed from inside, no matter what was happening outside. Think about it like this. The excitement you feel when you unbox a new video game is a powerful, instant joy. That's one kind of happiness. But imagine spending an afternoon volunteering at an animal shelter, or helping a younger sibling with their homework and seeing their grateful smile. You might feel a different kind of happiness then. A quiet, warm glow, a sense of deep satisfaction in your chest. This feeling is closer to what Aristotle described. It's not just a sudden high, but a deeper, more rooted feeling that comes from doing something meaningful, something that connects you to the world or to your own inner goodness. So perhaps happiness isn't just one simple thing we catch. Maybe it's a beautiful tapestry woven from those bright, joyful moments and the calmer, more profound sense of purpose that grows when we live a life true to our values. It's a journey of discovery, not a finish line. And it often involves growing, learning, and finding quiet meaning in the simple, everyday acts of being alive. And that's why taking a moment to reflect on it truly matters. Have you ever done something truly kind for someone? Maybe you helped a classmate study, or you picked up litter in the park. Often, a warm feeling washes over us when we do good, right? It feels like sunshine inside. But here's the thing. Does doing good always feel good right in that moment? Sometimes, doing what's right isn't easy. It might mean giving up something you want, or facing something scary. Doing good means acting in a way that helps others, makes things better, or follows what we know is fair and just. Feeling good is about our emotions, happiness, comfort, joy. The tricky part is when these two things don't perfectly line up. Thinkers long ago, like people in ancient Greece, spent a lot of time thinking about what it means to live a good life. They talked about something called virtue, which is like being a good person and doing good things. They knew that sometimes doing what's virtuous could be hard. It might mean showing courage when you're scared, or being honest even when a lie would be easier. For them, real goodness wasn't just about feeling happy all the time, but about acting with strong character. Imagine you see someone being unfair to another student. Standing up for that student is the right thing to do, but in that moment, your stomach might clench. You might feel nervous, or even a little afraid of what might happen. That instant feeling isn't good in the happy-go-lucky way, yet you do it because you know it's important. The good feeling, a deeper sense of peace or pride, might come later, after the brave act is done. So maybe doing good isn't always about that immediate rush of happiness. Sometimes it's about courage, about sticking to your values even when it's tough. It's about understanding that the truest good can come from moments of quiet sacrifice, where the heart knows it has done what was necessary, even if it didn't feel like sunshine at first. Have you ever looked at a picture of yourself from when you were little? Maybe you had different hair, different clothes, and certainly different thoughts. You might even wonder, was that really me? This question, if you change, are you still you? Makes us wonder what really makes you, you. Is it your body, your memories, your personality, or something else entirely? Here's the thing. Everything around us changes. Your body's cells are always replacing themselves. Your mind learns new things every day, and your feelings shift. So, if your physical self, your thoughts, and your emotions are constantly changing, what part of you stays the same? This idea isn't new. Ancient Greek thinkers puzzled over something called the ship of Theseus. Imagine a ship where every single wooden plank is replaced over time. Is it still the original ship, or is it a brand new one? This same puzzle applies to us. Think about a caterpillar becoming a butterfly. It transforms completely. Is it still the same being? Or think about your favorite band. They might change their music style or even their members over the years. Are they still the same band you fell in love with? Think about how much you've grown and learned since elementary school. You're taller now, you know more, you probably like different things, but you still carry your past experiences with you. So maybe being you isn't about being perfectly still and unchanging. Perhaps it's more like a river. A river is always flowing, always different water moving through it, but it's still the same river, known by the same name, following its path. Maybe you are like that Rivera continuous flow of experiences, memories, and choices. And that's okay. It means you are always becoming, always evolving, and that journey, that unfolding story, is what truly makes you, you. It's not about being the same, but about the unique journey of becoming. Have you ever been somewhere truly, utterly silent, not just quiet, but a deep, empty quiet where you can almost hear the absence of noise? It's a strange feeling, isn't it? We usually think of sound as something that travels through the air, vibrations that hit our eardrums. And silence? That's just when those vibrations stop, when nothing is making a noise. But here's the thing. Can silence itself become something we perceive, almost like a sound? Think about it this way. When you walk into a library or a meditation room, the silence can feel thick. It's not just nothing, it feels like something. Some philosophers and even spiritual thinkers have explored this idea for centuries. Ancient Eastern traditions, for instance, often talk about the profound experience of silence, seeing it as a space where deeper truths can be heard, not with our ears, but with our minds or souls. It's like a backdrop against which all other sounds appear, but also has a presence of its own. Consider what happens when you're in a very quiet place, maybe even a soundproof room. Your ears, trying to find something to hear, might start to pick up the subtle noises of your own body, your heartbeat, the blood rushing, even a faint ringing. That ringing, often called tinnitus, is a sound created by your own brain in the absence of external noise. So, in a way, extreme silence can sometimes make us hear sounds that were always there but hidden by the world's usual chatter. So, silence isn't just an empty space. It can be a canvas where our inner world becomes clearer. It can hold a quiet weight, a sense of peace, or even a subtle hum. Maybe, just maybe, silence isn't truly the absence of sound, but a different kind of sound altogether. A whisper from the quiet corners of the world, or even from within ourselves. It invites us to listen in a different way. Have you ever really stopped to think about how small something can be? Not just a speck of dust, but smaller? Like, what if you could take that speck and cut it in half, then half again, over and over? Would you ever reach a point where you couldn't cut it anymore? This question, simple as it sounds, has puzzled thinkers for thousands of years, and it still does today. See, everything around us, your hand, the air, a star, is made of tiny, tiny pieces. For a long time, people believed these pieces were atoms. Atoms are like the building blocks of everything. But then, scientists found out that atoms themselves are made of even smaller things: electrons, protons, and neutrons. And guess what? Those can be broken down even further into quarks and leptons. It's like an endless set of Russian nesting dolls, each one holding something even tinier inside. Ancient Greek thinkers, like a smart guy named Democritus, were some of the first to really ponder this. He lived way before microscopes and fancy lab equipment, but he imagined these tiny, indivisible bits. He called them atomos, which means uncuttable. He believed that everything was made of these unchangeable, fundamental particles, floating in empty space. And in a way, modern science has followed that same curious path, trying to find the ultimate uncuttable piece. Think about a book. From far away, it's just a solid shape. But as you get closer, you see pages. Then, words on the pages. Closer still, you see the tiny dots of ink that make up each letter. And if you had a superpowered magnifying glass, you'd see those ink dots are made of countless molecules. It's a journey into the hidden layers of what seems solid. So, is there a smallest thing, a final piece? Or does the universe just keep going smaller and smaller forever? This idea makes you wonder about the unseen parts of everything, about the deep mysteries hidden right under our noses. It reminds us that even the simplest things are incredibly complex and full of wonder. Sometimes we hold on to beliefs so tightly they feel like solid ground under our feet. We feel them deep inside our hearts. But does that strong feeling, that deep personal conviction, actually change what's real in the world around us? This question asks us to think about the very nature of truth itself. Is truth something that exists independently, like a mountain range or a distant star waiting for us to discover it? Or is it something we can simply create or erase just by thinking it? For many centuries, thoughtful people across different cultures have wrestled with this exact idea. Ancient thinkers wondered if there was a single, undeniable truth out there for everyone to find, or if truth was mostly just a collection of ideas in our own heads. Think back to a time when almost everyone believed the earth was flat and that the sun went around us. Millions believed it. They taught it in schools. It felt absolutely true for generations, but was it? Number scientific observation later showed us the earth is round and spins around the sun. So, a powerful, widespread belief, held by countless people, didn't change the actual facts of the universe. Here's the thing, our beliefs are incredibly powerful, especially for us as individuals. If you truly believe you can learn a hard subject, you're much more likely to put in the effort, study, and actually succeed. That positive belief helps you achieve your goals. But that's different from believing something is true when it isn't. For example, if you believe with all your heart that your next math test will be canceled, but your teacher never announced it, the test will still happen on the scheduled day. Your belief, no matter how strong or hopeful, doesn't cancel the test. So while our thoughts and hopes can shape our actions, our feelings, and our own personal journey, they usually don't change the basic, unchanging facts of how the world works. Truth often stands on its own, quiet and firm, waiting for us to understand it, regardless of our deepest desires. It gently reminds us to look for evidence, to question with an open mind, and to grasp that reality has its own rules, separate from our personal wishes. Have you ever looked at a painting or listened to a song and wondered what it was supposed to mean? Like, did the artist have some deep message they wanted to send, or was it just there? This is a question people have thought about for ages. Here's the thing. For most of history, people believed art had to have a clear purpose. Ancient cave paintings often told stories of hunts. Grand Greek statues honored gods, teaching about bravery. Later, artists like Leonardo da Vinci created paintings that showed religious stories or historical moments. Art had a job to inform or teach. But then, especially in the last 100 years, some artists started to ask, does art always need such a heavy message? They began to explore shapes, colors, and feelings just for the joy of it. They wondered if a simple splash of paint could be beautiful on its own. Think about a sunset. When you see those incredible colors spreading across the sky, does it mean anything specific? No, not really. It just is. It's a mix of light and color that makes you feel something, maybe peace or wonder or just a quiet joy. You don't ask what deep lesson the sunset is trying to teach you. You simply experience its beauty. And that's why it matters when we think about art. Maybe some paintings, some music, or even sculptures are like that sunset. They don't have a secret code or a hidden message. Their meaning might just be the feeling they stir inside you, or the way they make you see the world differently. It could be the pure joy of looking at something beautiful, or the simple act of creation. Perhaps art's deepest purpose isn't to tell us something, but to help us feel something, or to remind us that not everything needs a tidy explanation to be wonderful. Have you ever wondered why we laugh until our sides ache, or why tears fall when we're sad, or even incredibly happy? It's a bit mysterious, isn't it? These two powerful actions connect us deeply to our inner selves. Laughter and crying are basic ways our bodies express strong feelings. Laughter often comes from joy, surprise, or awkwardness. It's a quick burst of sound and movement. Crying, on the other hand, usually signals sadness, pain, or deep emotions like relief or happiness. It's a flow of tears. Both are natural, powerful releases that help us let out what's building up inside. For a long time, thinkers wondered about these feelings. Ancient Greek philosophers like Aristotle saw laughter as a way to show our human nature, often tied to things that are surprising. He thought it made us feel a bit superior. Crying, for many cultures, was a sign of weakness. But others, like the Stoics, who valued self-control, understood tears were a natural response to great sorrow. People knew these were important parts of being human. Think about watching a really funny video, or when your friend tells a hilarious story. You might laugh so hard you can't breathe, right? That's your body's way of releasing energy and sharing joy. Or imagine you've worked hard on a project, and it finally goes perfectly. You might feel so relieved and happy that a few tears just slip out. It's like your emotions are a full glass of water, and laughter or tears are just the overflow, a natural way to keep from spilling. So, why do we laugh and cry? Maybe our feelings are just too big to stay inside. They need a way out, a way to be seen and understood. These simple acts remind us we are alive, we feel deeply, and we are connected to the world around us. They help us heal, share, and truly experience what it means to be human. Have you ever wished a perfect day could just go on, forever, or that your favorite book would never end? We often dream of more time, of escaping life's limits. But what if we actually could live forever? What if death simply wasn't a thing anymore, and you could exist for thousands, even millions of years? This idea is called immortality. It means never dying, always existing. Your body wouldn't age. Your mind might stay sharp for countless generations. Think about it. No more goodbyes to loved ones, no more sadness of things ending. At first glance, this sounds amazing, like the ultimate wish come true. People have thought about this for thousands of years. Ancient myths from Greece, Egypt, and China are full of gods or heroes who searched for ways to live forever, like the legendary elixir of life. Humans have always seen death as a big mystery, something to overcome. They dreamed of endless youth and existence. Philosophers, too, have wondered if an endless life would truly be a gift. They asked, what would give life meaning if it had no end? Would everything just blur together? Here's the thing. Imagine your favorite snack. If you could eat it all day, every day, for years, would it still taste as special, or would it become boring? It's kind of like that. If you had endless time, would every moment still feel precious? What if all your friends and family eventually passed away while you remained unchanged? Would that endlessness feel more like a blessing or a lonely burden? Maybe the limit on our time. The fact that life does end is what makes it so valuable. Every laugh, every challenge, every sunrise becomes a little more special because it's part of a journey that won't last forever. It might be that the very possibility of an ending makes us truly live, learn, and love with all our hearts right now, making each moment count. Have you ever really tried to imagine nothing? Not just an empty box or a quiet room, but absolutely nothing at all? It's harder than it sounds. We often think of nothing as simply not something. Like, if you open your lunch bag and there's nothing inside, it means no sandwich, no apple. But what if there wasn't even a lunch bag? Or the air around it? Or the idea of inside or outside? For thousands of years, people have puzzled over this. Ancient thinkers, like some of the old Greek philosophers, even argued that nothing couldn't truly exist. They thought that if something existed, it had to be something. If it was nothing, then it couldn't exist to begin with. It's a tricky thought. On the other hand, some ideas suggest that nothing is a true void, a complete absence of everything. Think about outer space, far away from any stars or planets. It looks like a huge empty nothing, right? But even there, in the deepest vacuum, tiny particles pop in and out of existence all the time. Scientists call it a quantum vacuum, and it's actually buzzing with invisible energy. So even in what seems like the most empty place, there's still a kind of something happening. It makes you wonder if nothing is ever truly possible. Can you ever have a complete and total absence of everything? Or is there always some faint hum, some tiny whisper, even when we can't see or feel it? It's a deep mystery, always there when we pause and wonder about the edges of what is. Have you ever wondered if the moments that have already happened, the things we call the past, are truly gone forever? Or do they still exist somewhere, somehow, like a story waiting to be reread? This question makes us think deeply about time itself. Is time like a river that flows past us, carrying away every second, every experience, so that once it's gone, it's completely vanished? Or is time more like a long, stretching road, where every point on that road past, present, and future is always there, even if we're only walking through one part of it right now. Philosophers and even scientists have wrestled with this idea for thousands of years. Some ancient Greek thinkers like Parmenides thought that change wasn't really real. They believed that everything that ever was, is, and will be exists in an unchanging way. But then you have someone like Heraclitus, who famously said you can't step into the same river twice because everything is always moving and transforming. For him, the past is always disappearing. In more modern times, some scientists and philosophers believe that past, present, and future all exist at once. They call this eternalism. It's like seeing all the frames of a movie reel existing together, even if you only watch them one by one. But others believe only the present moment is truly real, and the past is simply gone, only living in our memories. This idea is called presentism. Think about your own first birthday party. Is that exact moment still out there somewhere, just not accessible to you right now? Or does it only exist as a memory in your mind, a story you can tell? It's kind of like listening to a song. When you play it, the notes come one after another. Does each note disappear forever once it's played? Or does the whole song, from beginning to end, exist all at once, even if you're only hearing a small part of it? So, what does it mean if the past still exists? It would mean every laugh, every tear, every single moment is somehow preserved. If it doesn't exist, then our memories are incredibly powerful, but also the only proof that anything ever happened. It makes us wonder what real even means and how we understand the story of our lives. Have you ever looked at a really smart computer or a robot and wondered if it could truly feel? Not just pretend to feel, but genuinely experience joy, sadness, or a moment of calm peace? This idea touches on one of the oldest and deepest questions about what makes us human, the nature of a soul. When we talk about a soul, we're not always talking about religion. We're thinking about that mysterious, invisible spark inside us. It's what makes you, your consciousness, your unique feelings, your ability to wonder, to love, or to feel the sting of sadness. It's what seems to give us an inner life, a deep sense of being. For centuries, people have believed this inner essence separates living things, especially humans, from mere objects. Ancient philosophers pondered a life force that animated creatures, setting them apart from inert stone. Later thinkers, like René Descartes, explored how our minds and bodies might be connected, but still saw the mind as something distinct and uniquely human. So, when a machine can learn, talk, and even create art, like a program that writes beautiful poems, it's amazing. It can mimic human creativity and conversation so well. But here's the thing. Does it understand the beauty of the poem it wrote? Does it feel the quiet ache of a sad melody it composed? Or is it simply following complex instructions, processing information without any inner experience? Think about a highly advanced robot companion. Maybe one that looks and acts just like a real pet. It might wag its tail, respond to your voice, and even seem to comfort you. But does it truly miss you when you're gone? Does it care about your happiness? Or is it just programmed to respond in ways that appear caring? A real pet can bring deep warmth and connection because we sense its own unique spirit. This question makes us look inward, too. It makes us wonder about the precious, unexplainable part of ourselves that dreams, wonders, and feels. Perhaps a soul isn't something that can be built or coded, but a beautiful mystery tied to life itself. Something that reminds us how special and complex true consciousness truly is. It leaves us with a quiet thought. What truly makes us us? Imagine knowing every single thing there is to know. Every star in the universe, every thought a person has ever had, every tiny grain of sand on every beach. Could that even be possible for someone? This huge idea of knowing absolutely everything is what we call omniscience. It means having all the answers to every question about the past, the present, and even the future. It sounds amazing, right? But here's the thing. It's also a little overwhelming to even think about. For thousands of years, people have wondered about how much we can truly know. Ancient thinkers, like the Greek philosopher Socrates, famously said he knew only one thing, that he knew nothing. He wasn't saying he was dumb. What he meant was, the more he learned, the more he realized just how much more there was out there to learn. He understood that the amount of knowledge in the world is vast, almost endless. And our own personal knowledge is just a tiny part of it. Think about trying to read every single book in the biggest library in the world, or watching every video ever uploaded to the internet. It's an impossible task. The moment you finish one, thousands more are created. Our universe works a lot like that, but it's even bigger and more complex. Every day, scientists discover new stars, new living things, and tiny particles we never knew existed. Psychologists learn more about how our minds work. The more we discover, the more new questions pop up. It's like the edge of our knowledge keeps growing and pushing out into a wider unknown. So, maybe true wisdom isn't about knowing everything. Maybe it's about being okay with not knowing everything. It's about staying curious, asking questions, and enjoying the incredible journey of learning and exploring. It reminds us that there's always something new, something wonderful, just waiting to be discovered, whether it's in a book, a science lab, or even by just looking closely at the world around you. And that's a pretty cool thought. What is courage? It's a simple question, but the answer feels like a deep river flowing through all of us. Have you ever felt that quiet flutter in your stomach? A little knot of worry, but still chosen to step forward? That feeling, that tiny decision to push past your fear, that's what we call courage. Here's the thing. Courage isn't about not being scared. It's about being scared, maybe even really scared, and choosing to act anyway. It's the brave whisper that tells you to try, even when your mind screams to stay put. Think about a tiny seed pushing through hard ground to reach the sun. The ground is tough, but the seed doesn't give up. That persistent push? It's a kind of courage, a quiet determination to grow. People have thought about courage for thousands of years. The ancient Greeks, for example, saw it as a really important quality. A philosopher named Aristotle talked about courage not as being super reckless or totally afraid, but finding a good balance in between. For him, courage was about knowing what was right to fear and what wasn't, and then doing what needed to be done with wisdom. It was a core part of living a good, honest life. So, what does this look like in your life? Maybe it's not speaking up in front of a big crowd, but instead, just admitting you made a mistake to a friend. Or it could be trying a new sport even if you're worried about not being good enough. Those quiet moments where you choose to try or to be honest, even when it feels a little vulnerable, that's courage taking root inside you. Ultimately, courage isn't just for big, heroic acts. It's a gentle, steady force we carry within us, showing up in the small, everyday choices. It's what helps us learn, grow, and become stronger one brave step at a time. Imagine for a moment if you could step back into yesterday or leap into tomorrow. What would you do? Would you fix a small mistake you made, like forgetting to study for a quiz, or peek at next week's test answers? This isn't just a fun daydream from a movie. It's a deep question that philosophers and thinkers have pondered for ages. Here's the thing. Time travel in stories and theories means more than just moving through dates. It means possibly changing what has already happened, or knowing what will happen. But if you change something in the past, even a tiny thing, what happens to everything that came after it? It's like carefully building a tall tower of blocks. If you pull out just one block from the bottom, even a small one, the whole tower might wobble, or even completely collapse in a way you never expected. For thousands of years, people have wondered about the very nature of time itself. Ancient thinkers, long before movies were invented, often saw time as a river flowing forward, steady and unchangeable. They believed events unfolded in a set order, one after the other, and that the past was done, sealed. The idea of truly altering the past is much newer, mostly found in science fiction, where it creates fascinating puzzles like the grandfather paradox. If you went back and stopped your grandparent from meeting, you wouldn't exist, so how could you have gone back in the first place? It's a twisty loop that makes your brain hurt. So, here's what I found. While we can't physically jump through time, thinking about it teaches us something powerful about our own lives. Every choice we make right now creates the future. It means the present moment, this very second, is incredibly precious. It's the only time we truly have, full of possibilities. And that's why it matters. Our actions today ripple outward, like dropping a stone into a calm pond, shaping our tomorrows in ways we can only begin to understand. Have you ever looked at the vast, dark ocean and wondered what secrets lie at its deepest points? Or stared up at the endless stars and felt a gentle pull of curiosity about what's truly out there? This leads us to a big thought. Does every question we ask have an answer? It feels like it should, right? We're taught to find answers. But some questions, they might not have a clear answer. Not yet, maybe never. We call these unanswerable questions, not because we're not smart enough, but because the answer might be beyond what we can know, or what science can measure, or even what words can truly describe. Think about the very first philosophers, like those in ancient Greece, centuries ago. They sat under the same stars we do now. They asked things like, what is truth? Or what is the purpose of life? Even back then, they understood that some questions were too big to wrap up neatly. They learned to live with the mystery, to find wonder in the questions themselves. It's a way of accepting that our knowledge has limits, and that's okay. Here's a way to think about it. If you ask, what was happening before the universe began? Scientists have incredible theories about the Big Bang, but they're still figuring out the before. There's no definite answer we can fully grasp, at least not yet. Or consider, what does my pet dream about at night? We can guess, we can imagine, but we can't truly know. It's a bit like trying to catch a cloud. It's always just out of reach. So it's okay to sit with a question that has no easy answer. Sometimes, the most beautiful part of being human is not having all the answers. It's the feeling of wonder, that gentle hum of curiosity that pushes us to explore, to imagine. It reminds us that there's always more to learn, more to feel, and more to simply be amazed by in this big, mysterious world. Embracing the unknown can be a quiet adventure all its own. Have you ever stopped to wonder if freedom is just doing whatever you want, whenever you want? We often think of it as having no rules, no limits, like a bird soaring high. But is that all there is? Or could true freedom be something deeper, something quieter that lives inside us? Here's the thing. It's easy to feel free when we're given choices, like choosing what to wear or what movie to watch. But think about it. If you choose to spend all your free time playing video games, are you truly free? Or are you maybe bound by a habit, even if you picked it? Philosophers have thought about this for thousands of years. Ancient Greek thinkers, like the Stoics, believed real freedom wasn't about what happened outside. They said it was about how you reacted, how you controlled your own thoughts and feelings. They believed you could be free even in tough situations if you controlled your inner world. Imagine learning a new skill, like playing the guitar. At first, it's hard. Your fingers hurt, notes sound bad. You might feel free if you just gave up. But if you stick with it, practicing even when it's tough, you get better. You learn chords, then songs. Suddenly, you're not just playing notes, you're making music. That moment, creating something beautiful with your own hands, isn't that a deeper kind of freedom? It's the freedom that comes from mastering yourself, pushing past comfort to gain a new ability. So, true freedom might not be about endless choices or a life with no boundaries. Instead, it could be the power to choose wisely, to master your own mind, and to create the person you want to be. It's the quiet strength that lets you pick what's good, even when it's hard, and find peace within your mind, no matter what happens around you. Have you ever looked up at the stars, or thought about how tiny we are in the huge universe, and wondered if it all means something? Is there a secret script for everything, or are things just happening? This is what people mean when they ask if there's a grand plan. It's about whether our lives, the world, and even the whole cosmos are following some kind of blueprint. Is there a purpose behind every sunrise, every human connection, every challenge? It suggests a higher power, or a powerful natural force, might have designed everything with a specific goal. For a very long time, people have asked this question. In ancient Greece, thinkers like the Stoics believed the universe was perfectly ordered, like a carefully crafted machine. They felt everything happened for a reason, guided by a universal wisdom. Many religions also believe in a grand plan. They think a creator designed the world and us with purpose, making our lives part of that bigger story. Think about a puzzle. Does it just happen? Or was someone thinking about the final picture when they made all the pieces? Many feel there must be a puzzle master, someone who knows what the finished picture looks like. But here's the thing, not everyone agrees. Some thinkers believe life is more like a blank canvas. There's no preset plan. We paint our own meaning, create our own purpose. We make our own choices, and those choices shape our path. without a hidden script. It's like building with Legos. Do you follow the instructions to build the picture on the box? Or do you just let your imagination run wild, building whatever comes to mind, creating something new? This question doesn't have an easy answer, and that's okay. It's not about finding one right answer. Instead, it's about the quiet wonder it sparks. Thinking about a grand plan can bring comfort, like we're part of something bigger and meaningful. Or it can encourage us to take charge, knowing we have the freedom to choose our own path. Either way, it makes us think deeply about our place in the vast, beautiful mystery of existence. Think about all the things we believe are real. The sky is blue, water is wet, 2 + 2 = 4. But have you ever stopped to wonder how we really know these things are true? How do we figure out what's a fact and what's just an idea someone has? This is a big question people have asked for thousands of years. It's about knowing what's truly real, not just a belief or opinion. It's like finding solid ground in a shifting world. Ancient Greek thinkers like Plato thought deeply about this. He wondered if our senses could fool us. Plato thought true knowledge came from deep thinking, from using our minds to reason things out, not just what we see or touch. Later, thinkers like John Locke had a different idea. He argued we learn everything from our experiences. He thought our minds start like a blank slate, filled by what we see, hear, and feel. Consider something simple. How do you know a stove is hot? Do you know it's hot because someone told you? Or because you saw steam rising from a pot on it? Or maybe you accidentally touched it and felt the burning heat? Each way gives you information, but some feel more certain than others, right? One is trust, another is seeing, and the third is touching. So, understanding what's true isn't always simple. It means checking facts, listening to others, and using our own minds to ask questions. It's like being a detective of your own thoughts, always looking for clues, always wondering, how do I know this is real? This journey of questioning helps us build our understanding, piece by careful piece. Have you ever gazed at a sunset, all oranges and purples melting together, and wondered if that's all there is? It's a beautiful thought, that our eyes show us the whole world of color. But what if our eyes, amazing as they are, only show us a small part of it? Here's the thing. Color isn't really a physical thing floating in the air. It's how our brains interpret light waves. Think of light like waves in an ocean. Our eyes pick up certain lengths of these light waves, what we call the visible spectrum, the colors of the rainbow, from red to violet. For a long time, people have thought about what color truly is. Ancient thinkers, like Aristotle, thought about what colors really were, seeing them like basic elements of the world. Later, Isaac Newton showed how white light splits into all rainbow colors through a prism. This proved color was part of light itself. But even with all this understanding, our human eyes have limits. Think about your television remote. When you press a button, you don't usually see anything, right? That's because it uses infrared light, which our eyes can't see. But birds can see ultraviolet light. For them, flowers glow in secret colors we can't even imagine. So, while our world feels full of reds, blues, and greens, there are huge parts of light our eyes just don't pick up. This makes you wonder, doesn't it? If there's so much more out there we can't see, what else are we missing? It shows us that our way of seeing the world, while amazing, is just one way. It's like hearing only a few notes in an endless song. And that's a deep, quiet thought, reminding us of hidden wonders all around us every single day. Have you ever stopped to think about what really makes a person shine? Is it being super smart, knowing all the answers, and solving tough problems? Or is it being really kind, making others feel welcome, and helping out when they need it? This question isn't new. People have been wondering about it for thousands of years. Here's the thing. Being smart usually means you have a strong mind. You can learn new ideas, figure out complex puzzles, and invent cool stuff. It's about knowledge and understanding. But being kind is about your heart. It's how you treat other people, showing empathy, and being thoughtful about their feelings. It's about compassion and caring. A long time ago, famous thinkers like the Greek philosopher Plato or the Chinese thinker Confucius thought a lot about what makes a good person. While they valued wisdom and clear thinking, many also believed that true intelligence wasn't just about knowing facts. It also meant knowing how to live well and treat others well. Confucius, for example, really focused on Ren, which is like profound human kindness or benevolence. He believed that this kindness was super important for a peaceful society. So, for many ancient thinkers, being truly wise often included being deeply good. Think about it like this. Imagine you have two classmates. One classmate is super brilliant. They always ace tests and know everything about science. But they sometimes talk down to others or don't share their notes. Now, imagine another classmate. They might not be the top of the class, but they always offer help, listen when someone is sad, and make sure everyone feels included in games. Which one makes your day better? Which one builds a stronger community around them? It's a tough choice, right? Because both smarts and kindness are really valuable. Maybe the best way to think about it isn't which one is better, but how they can work together. Can a smart person use their intelligence to be even kinder? And can a kind person use their understanding of others to be wiser? Perhaps the most powerful person is someone who brings both to the world, using their smarts with a kind heart. It's something to quietly think about as you move through your own days. We often hear that kindness is its own reward, a bright light we offer to the world. But deep down, do we ever wonder if that light always shines back on us? Does doing something good for someone else truly mean something good will happen to you in return? Kindness is simply being good to others, sharing your time, offering a helping hand, or listening. When we ask if it pays off, we're thinking if kind actions bring good results, like feeling happy or even finding success. It's about the ripple effect of our actions. Hoping good comes from good. Thinkers for thousands of years have wrestled with this. Ancient Greek philosophers like Aristotle believed living a good life filled with kindness was the path to eudaimonia, a deep sense of true well-being. They saw kindness as valuable on its own, not just a way to get something else. Living kindly, they thought, helps you become your best self. Here's the thing. Sometimes, you might go out of your way to help a classmate with a tough math problem, and maybe they don't even say thank you or quickly forget your help. It can feel disappointing, right? But then there are times when just seeing their understanding or knowing you made their day easier fills you with a quiet warmth. This is sometimes called the helper's high in psychology. Your brain releases feel-good chemicals when you're kind. It's a natural internal reward. So, maybe the payoff isn't always a direct trade, like getting exact change back. There are no guarantees. Kindness will be returned as you expect. Sometimes, it's a silent echo inside you, a subtle strength growing with each good choice. It's the quiet knowing that you chose goodness, even when no one was watching. And that, truly, is a kind of wealth all its own, a deep warmth that belongs only to you. Have you ever gazed up at the night sky, at all those tiny pinpricks of light, and wondered, is there an end? Is there a giant wall or barrier where the universe just stops? It's a question that has puzzled humans for thousands of years. And here's the thing. The answer isn't simple, and is far more incredible. When we talk about the edge of the universe, it's not like a physical boundary you could bump into. Imagine you're on the surface of a giant balloon, and this balloon is always being inflated. As it grows, everything on its surface moves further away from everything else, but there's no actual edge for you to fall off. That's a bit like our universe always stretching out. What we call the observable universe is just how far light has had time to travel to us since the Big Bang. It's like looking back in time because that light has been flying across space for billions of years. So the edge we see is a limit of time and light, not a spatial wall. For a long time, people imagined the universe differently. Ancient thinkers often pictured a finite world, maybe a dome above us, with stars attached like jewels. They believed there was a definite outer edge, but as our understanding grew, especially with modern astronomy, we learned that space doesn't just stop. It appears to stretch on, possibly forever. This idea means that, while there's a limit to what we can see, the universe itself might be truly boundless, and that's why it matters. Thinking about the edge isn't just about science, it's about our place in something vast and mysterious. It's a reminder of how much there is still to discover, and how beautiful the unknown can be. It invites us to feel both small and connected to everything around us. Have you ever stopped to wonder how much the people around you truly shape who you are? Imagine for a moment if you never met your best friend, or favorite teacher, or even a particular family member. Would the you standing here today be exactly the same person? This question digs deep into our idea of identity. See, we often think of ourselves as fixed, like a single puzzle piece. But here's the thing, maybe we are more like a tapestry, woven together by threads from every connection we make. Our identity, that unique blend of thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, isn't just created alone in a quiet room. It grows and shifts because of our interactions. Others act like mirrors, reflecting parts of us we might not see, or they spark new interests and ideas within us. Philosophers, people who think deeply about life, have wondered about this for thousands of years. Ancient Greek thinkers, for example, talked about how we truly come to know ourselves through our relationships with others. They believed that our self wasn't something fully formed at birth, but something that develops and changes with experience, especially through our connections. So your identity isn't just inside you, it's also built in the space between you and other people. Think about it this way. Maybe you never liked to read until a friend shared their favorite book with you. Suddenly, you discover a whole new world of stories, and reading becomes a part of who you are. Or you try a new sport because your cousin needed a teammate, and now you're an athlete. Those experiences, born from meeting someone else, add a new layer to your you-ness. So perhaps us is not just a singular noun. It's more like a constantly flowing river, forever changed by the different streams that join it along the way. And that thought that we are beautifully shaped by the simple act of meeting is truly something to ponder. Have you ever wished you could just turn off a feeling, like when you feel sad after a disappointment, or angry when something isn't fair? Can we just flip a switch and decide, nope, not feeling that today? Here's the thing. People have wondered about this for ages. It makes us think deeply about what it means to be human. Some ancient thinkers, like the Stoics, believed we can't always control what happens to us, or even the first spark of an emotion. But they thought we can choose how we think about it and how we react. They believed feelings are often tied to our thoughts. If you think something is terrible, you might feel sad. Change your thought, and could the feeling change too? Think of it like this. A sudden loud noise might make you jump. That jump is a natural reaction, almost automatic. You didn't choose to jump. But after that first startled moment, you can choose your next move. Do you scream, laugh, or just shrug it off? It's kind of like that with emotions. The initial feeling might just arrive, like an unexpected guest. But you get to decide if you invite them in or simply acknowledge them and let them pass. Modern psychology also talks about this idea. It suggests we might not control the very first feeling that washes over us, but we do have power over how long it stays, how much attention we give it, and what we do with it. So while you might not choose to feel sad, you can choose how you handle that sadness. You can decide whether it overwhelms you or if you find a way through it. It's not about pushing feelings away, but understanding them and choosing your next step with kindness and wisdom. Have you ever looked at a clock and wondered what that ticking really means? We say time passes or time flies, but what is it? Is it something you can touch, like a building? Is it a flowing river or just an idea in our minds? Here's the thing. Time isn't really made of anything, like a chair is made of wood. Instead, it's how one event follows another, the measurement of change itself. Without change, would time even exist? Long ago, thinkers like the ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle saw time connected to motion. They noticed the sun move across the sky, how seasons changed, and how people grew older. So, time was how they tracked all that. Later, Isaac Newton imagined time as a steady, endless river, flowing on its own, always the same everywhere, no matter what. But here's a good way to think about it today. Imagine you're playing a video game. You finish level 1, and then you go to level 2. You can't play level 2 before level 1. That then is time. It's the order of events. When you remember yesterday, you're thinking about events that happened before today. And when you plan for tomorrow, you're thinking about events that will happen after today. Our brains keep track of this order, giving us a sense of past, present, and future. So time might not be a thing you can hold, but it's real in how we experience the world and how everything changes and unfolds. It's the quiet rhythm of our lives, showing us that every moment is special because it happens only once, and then it becomes part of our story, always moving forward. Have you ever noticed how some things seem to happen again and again, like a pattern in the weave of time? Maybe an argument with a friend follows the same old script, or a certain type of problem keeps popping up in your neighborhood. This feeling that things circle back is at the heart of the question: does history repeat itself? It doesn't mean that the exact same events will happen. It's not like the American Revolution will replay with the same people and costumes next year. Instead, it's about patterns. It's about similar kinds of human choices leading to similar kinds of outcomes. Think of it like this. If you always forget your backpack before school, you might miss important books. If you keep forgetting, you'll keep facing the same problem, even if the specific book you need changes. That's a small, personal history repeating itself. For centuries, thinkers have pondered this. Some ancient philosophers, like those in Greece, believed time was a big circle and everything would eventually return. They saw life as a series of repeating cycles, like the seasons. More recently, people like the writer George Santayana suggested that if we don't learn from the past, we're likely to make the same mistakes. So, when societies forget lessons about, say, fairness or cooperation, they might find themselves dealing with similar struggles for power or peace generations later. Consider a basketball team. If they keep losing games because they don't work together, they might repeat the pattern of losing season after season. But if they finally learn to pass and trust each other, they can break that cycle. The game is the same, but their actions change the outcome. So maybe history isn't a perfect circle, but more like a spiral. We come back to similar points, facing similar challenges. But with each turn, we have the chance to rise a little higher, to make different choices, and to shape a future that's a bit better than the past. It means we have power if we choose to look closely and learn. Have you ever been reading a book, maybe a thrilling adventure story, and you can almost hear the characters speaking their lines, even though you're just looking at words on a page? Or perhaps you're trying to make a big decision, like what elective to choose next year, and you hear thoughts forming in your mind, like a quiet conversation happening just for you. This familiar feeling, this sense of an inner dialogue, is what we often call the voice inside our head. It's not a real sound, of course, like someone literally talking out loud. Instead, it's our own thoughts, our mind's unique way of talking to itself. Think of it as your personal internal world, a private space where ideas, plans, and feelings take shape. This inner voice helps us reason things out, remember important stuff, and even work through problems. For a very long time, people have wondered about this hidden mental space. Ancient Greek philosophers, like Plato, imagined the soul as a part of us that could think and reason, almost as if it were conversing quietly with itself. Later, thinkers like René Descartes believed this inner world was where our true self lived, separate from our physical body. Today, scientists and psychologists often talk about it as an inner monologue, or simply self-talk. It's how we process our daily experiences, review memories, or even mentally practice what we're going to say next. For example, if you're about to give a presentation, your inner voice might be rehearsing your lines or giving you a quiet pep talk to calm your nerves. It's like having a constant companion, a private space where all your thoughts can unfold freely. This quiet conversation is where much of our learning and understanding happens. It helps us figure out who we are, what we believe, and how we feel about the world around us. So, that gentle murmur in your mind isn't just noise. It's the quiet rhythm of your own unique being, guiding you, questioning with you, and reflecting on everything you experience. It's a truly personal space, always there, always thinking with you. Have you ever really thought about why we spend so much time learning? Why do we go to school, read books, or just ask, why? It's a big question, and it's not just about good grades or a future job. See, learning is more than collecting facts. It's about growing. Imagine a small seed. It takes in water and sunlight, slowly growing into a tall plant. We are a bit like that seed. When we learn, we take in new ideas and new ways of seeing things. We change, becoming more of who we can be. For a long time, people have wondered about this. Way back in ancient Greece, thinkers like Socrates believed learning was about finding truth. They thought understanding the world and yourself was most important. It wasn't just about knowing facts, but about becoming a better person. They felt deep understanding led to good choices and inner peace. Here's the thing, learning helps you connect the dots. Think about playing a new instrument, like a guitar. At first, it's just separate notes. But the more you learn, the more those pieces come together, and suddenly, you're making music. Life is similar. The more you learn about history, science, or how different people think, the more you see how everything fits. You start to understand why things are, and you can imagine new possibilities. So, learning isn't a finish line. It's more like a path that keeps opening. It helps us feel less lost and more connected to the world. It's about finding wonder in the everyday and building our own understanding piece by piece. That's why it matters so much. Have you ever wondered if the path you're walking or the choices you'll make next week are somehow already set? It's a strange thought, isn't it? We usually think of the future as wide open, like a blank page waiting for us to write. But what if that page is already written, just waiting for us to read it? This deep question asks if everything that's going to happen already exists in time. Imagine time as a giant book, not a straight line moving forward. Every page, past, present, future, is already there, bound together. We just haven't turned to those future pages yet. Some philosophers call this determinism. It suggests all events are determined by earlier causes, like a long chain. If you knew all the causes, you could theoretically know all the effects. Ancient Greek thinkers like the Stoics explored this. They believed the universe followed a set, logical order, almost like a perfect machine. Every part, including our lives, was already laid out. This wasn't about magic. It was about everything being connected by cause and effect. If the beginning happened a certain way, everything else was set. Think about a movie you've watched many times. When you watch it, the story unfolds and characters make choices. But even though you're seeing it in real time, the whole movie, every scene, line, ending, already exists on the film. You're just experiencing it moment by moment. Our lives might be a bit like that movie. We're moving through it, but the whole story is already recorded. It's a big concept, and it can feel a little heavy. But here's the thing. Even if the future is there, we still live in the present. We still feel our choices, our efforts, and our hopes. And that sense of wonder, of possibility, remains a powerful part of being human. Have you ever looked at something and for a moment felt unsure what it was? Maybe a shadow that looked like a person or an object that changed shape in dim light? It's a strange feeling when your eyes seem to trick you. This makes us wonder, can we always trust what our eyes tell us about the world around us? Here's the thing, our eyes are amazing. They take in light, colors, and shapes. But it's our brain that turns this information into the picture we see. Sometimes our brain makes guesses or fills in gaps or even gets confused. So what we experience as seeing isn't just about light hitting our eyes, it's about how our mind interprets it. For thousands of years, people have thought about this. A famous Greek philosopher, Plato, wondered if what we see is truly real. He told a story about people in a cave only seeing shadows on a wall. They believed these shadows were real, never seeing the true objects. This makes us wonder, are we like them? Sometimes only seeing a small part of a larger truth. Think about optical illusions, those clever drawings that can look like two different things at once or seem to move when they're still. Your eyes see the lines, but your brain can't quite decide which picture is the true one. Or think of seeing something far away, a small dot, only to realize up close it was a bird or a kite. Your first seeing wasn't the full story. So, while our sight is a precious gift, it's also a doorway to a deeper mystery. It reminds us that reality isn't always as simple as it seems. What we see might be just one way of looking, one perspective. And that's why it matters to keep our minds open, to question, and to look beyond the first glance. What else might be there, waiting to be truly seen? Have you ever made up your mind about something, really felt sure, and then later, a new thought whispers to you? It's like the world has shifted just a little, and suddenly what seemed certain before now feels different. This quiet change, this turning of thought, is what we call changing your mind. It isn't about being weak or unsure. It's about listening, about learning more, about letting new information reshape what you believe. For a long time, some people thought changing your mind made you seem untrustworthy or weak, like a ship without an anchor just drifting. They believed that once you declared something, you had to stick to it forever, no matter what. But here's the thing, history itself is a long story of changing minds. Think about ancient philosophers or early scientists. For centuries, people believed the sun went around the earth. That was the absolute truth. But then, brave thinkers like Copernicus and Galileo looked at the stars with new eyes, gathered more information, and slowly, the world changed its mind. They showed us that sometimes, the truth we hold on to can expand or even shift entirely as our knowledge grows. This wasn't weakness. It was a profound step forward for human understanding. It's like when you discover a new hobby. Maybe you used to think sports weren't for you, and you told everyone that. But then a friend invites you to try basketball, and suddenly, you find real joy in it. Your mind shifts. You don't have to keep pretending you dislike it just because you said that once. You allow yourself to grow and explore. And that's okay. So, is it wrong to change your mind? Maybe it's actually a sign of strength. It means you are open, curious, and willing to grow. It shows you value understanding more than just sticking to what you've always known, even if it feels comfortable. It means you're always on a journey, exploring new parts of yourself and the world, letting your wisdom deepen with every new idea. Have you ever looked at the sky, really looked, and felt a quiet hum inside you? Or maybe you've laughed so hard your stomach hurt, and in that moment, felt truly present? What does it truly mean to be alive, beyond just breathing? This is one of the oldest questions humans have ever asked. For thousands of years, people have wondered about this. Ancient thinkers, like those in old Greece or faraway lands in Asia, often talked about life as more than just physical existence. They believed being alive also meant having a spirit, a soul, or a special awareness that lets us think, feel, and wonder. Here's the thing, they weren't just curious about how we live, but why we live, and what makes our time here special. Think about a time you felt completely awake and aware. Maybe it was when you were lost in drawing, or playing your favorite sport, or even just listening to a piece of music that really spoke to you. In those moments, you weren't just existing, you were experiencing. Your senses were sharper, your emotions were clear, and you felt connected to what you were doing. This feeling, this deep engagement with the world, might be what it means to be truly alive. It's not just about surviving. It's about feeling, learning, connecting, and growing. It's about the quiet joy of a sunset, a friend's voice, or the thrill of understanding something new. Being alive means having the chance to feel wonder, sorrow, love, and to explore the vast world inside and outside ourselves. It's a journey of discovery, unique for each person, always unfolding, and that's why it matters so much. Have you ever stopped to think about what normal even means? We hear that word a lot, act normal. That's not normal. But here's the thing, if every single one of us is truly unique, with our own thoughts, feelings, and fingerprints, then how can there be one single normal for everyone? When we say normal, we usually mean something that's common, expected, or fits into a general idea of what's typical. It's like an average, or what most people do. But this idea of normal can be tricky. It often tries to put a simple label on something that's actually very complex and full of differences. For a long time, people have tried to figure out what the right way to be is. Back in ancient Greece, thinkers would discuss what a good life looked like, or how a virtuous person should act. But even then, they argued about it. Over time, societies create rules and expectations for how people should behave, dress, or think. These expectations often become what we call normal. So, normal isn't really a fixed, unchanging truth. Instead, it's often something that groups of people decide together, and it can even change over time, and from one culture to another. Think about how we all learn in school. Some of us learn best by reading, others by listening, and some by doing things with our hands. Is there a normal way to learn? Not really. There are common ways, but each brain works a bit differently. If we expected everyone to learn the exact same way, at the exact same speed, it wouldn't make sense, because we're all wired uniquely. So maybe normal isn't a goal to reach, but just a general idea, and that's okay. Our differences are what make the world interesting and rich. Maybe the real normal is simply being true to yourself in all your unique, wonderful ways. It's about accepting that everyone has their own normal inside them, and that's what truly connects us. Have you ever sat quietly, maybe in your room, and felt completely by yourself, really, truly alone? It seems simple, right? Being alone just means no one else is around. But here's the thing. Is that all it means? Can we ever truly be alone, not just physically, but in our minds, in our feelings? Think about it. Even when you're by yourself, your thoughts are there. Memories, worries, dreams, they fill the space. You carry the echoes of conversations, the advice of friends, the stories you've read. In a way, these parts of your life, these pieces of others, are always with you. Ancient thinkers, even long ago, wondered about this. They often talked about how we're connected to everything, like threads in a giant invisible web. A Greek philosopher named Aristotle, for example, said humans are social animals. He meant we are made to live with others, to connect. Even if you're on a deserted island, the knowledge you have, the language you speak, came from other people. And today, it's even more obvious. Think about your phone. Even if it's off, the apps on it, the photos, the messages, they are all connections to other people, other moments. Our minds work kind of like that too. Every idea you have might have come from a book, a movie, or a talk with someone. So, in a way, you're never truly a blank slate. So, maybe being alone isn't about the absence of others, but about how we carry the world within us. It's not a lonely thought, but a comforting one. It suggests that even in quiet moments, we are part of something bigger, always connected, always carrying echoes of life's vast, rich story. We might seek solitude, but complete isolation of the mind. Perhaps that's a different kind of question altogether. Have you ever closed your eyes and seen a moment from the past? Maybe it was a birthday party, or the smell of rain after a hot day, or the way a friend laughed at a joke. What exactly is that? What is happening inside us when we remember? Here's the thing. A memory isn't just a picture stored in your head. It's more like a story you tell yourself, a feeling you revisit, a scent or a sound that brings back a whole world. It's the way our brains hold on to information, experiences, and feelings over time. Imagine your brain as a huge, busy library, but instead of books, it's filled with echoes of everything you've ever seen, heard, felt, and learned. When you remember, you're not just pulling out an exact copy. You're sort of retelling that story, and each time you tell it, it can change just a little. For a long time, ancient Greek thinkers wondered if memories were like wax tablets, where experiences left their marks. Later, scientists started to understand that memory involves tiny connections in your brain cells, called neurons. When you learn something new or have an experience, those connections get stronger. It's like walking a path in a field. The more you walk it, the clearer the path becomes. Think about learning to ride a bike. At first, it's hard, right? You fall, you wobble, but over time, your brain stores how your muscles move, how to balance, and then, one day, you just know how to ride. That's a memory in action skill, built up piece by piece. So, a memory is this amazing, fluid thing. It shapes who we are, connecting our past to our present. It lets us learn, grow, and feel. But it also raises questions. Is every memory truly accurate? How much do we change them without realizing it? It's a quiet wonder, this ability to carry our history within us, always changing, always teaching. And that's why it matters so much. Have you ever known you were totally right about something? Maybe in a talk with a friend, did you feel like you had to say it, even if it might make them feel bad? This question asks us to look at two strong feelings inside us, wanting to be correct and wanting to be caring. Being right often means having the facts, the truth. It's about being accurate. But kindness is about how we treat people. It's about being gentle, understanding, and caring. It means not wanting to hurt anyone. Sometimes, these two things clash. You might know a fact, but sharing it harshly can really hurt feelings. So, which one should we pick? For a long time, thinkers have wondered about this. Ancient Greek thinkers, for example, talked about what makes a good life. Was it just knowing things, or was it good actions, like being fair and kind? Many believed how we treat others is a huge part of being truly wise. It's not only about facts, but about how we are. Imagine your friend tells a story and gets a small detail wrong. You know the exact name or date, you could jump in and correct them. That would be being right. But think about how that might make them feel. A little embarrassed, maybe? Sometimes, just letting a small mistake go so your friend can feel good is an act of kindness. It shows you care more about their comfort. This choice is a quiet dance. It doesn't mean truth isn't important, but it makes us pause. It makes us wonder if, in that moment, the gentleness of our words or just being there for someone might actually matter more than having the exact answer. Maybe true strength comes not just from knowing what is true, but from sharing it with a gentle heart. Have you ever really listened to silence or wondered what a sound might be if it couldn't exist in the usual way? The question, what is the sound of one hand clapping, is one of the most famous riddles ever asked. It's not a trick question, and it doesn't have a simple, everyday answer you can just say out loud. This famous saying comes from Zen Buddhism, a type of teaching that started in ancient China and spread to places like Japan. These riddles are called koans. Imagine you clap your hands together to make a sound. You need both hands, right? One hand alone can't make that familiar sound. So, the question isn't asking for a noise you can hear with your ears. Instead, it's asking you to think beyond what's obvious, beyond what your brain normally expects. Hundreds of years ago, Zen teachers gave koans like this to their students. They weren't trying to confuse them or make them feel silly. The goal was to help students stop relying only on strict logic and everyday rules. It was meant to push their minds past usual ways of thinking, to open them up to seeing the world in a completely new, deeper way. It's like trying to draw a circle without lifting your pen. It forces you to think differently about how you're drawing. Think about how you hear music. You need the instrument and you need the air vibrations to carry the sound to your ears. If you only have the instrument but no air, like in the vacuum of space, then what do you hear? Nothing, right? It's similar with one hand clapping. The sound isn't a noise you can hear with your ears. It's more about the experience of what isn't there, or what happens when you look for something that can't logically exist in the way you expect. So this koan isn't about finding a secret sound. It's about learning to listen in a different way, not just with your ears, but with your mind and heart. It gently pushes you to notice things beyond the surface, to feel the quiet space, the absence, and to understand that sometimes the most profound answers aren't found in noise, but in stillness and deep reflection. It teaches us to look for understanding in unexpected places. Have you ever stopped to think if there's an end to what we can learn? Imagine a day when every question has an answer, every mystery solved. Could that day ever truly arrive? This big question asks if human knowledge has a boundary. It's not just about what we haven't discovered yet, like a new planet. It's deeper. Are some things simply impossible for our minds to grasp, no matter how smart we get? Is there a fence around the universe of knowledge we can never cross? Think about the ancient Greek philosopher, Socrates. He was considered very wise, yet he famously said, "The only true wisdom is in knowing that you know nothing." He meant the more he learned, the more he realized how much he didn't know. It made him humble. Many wonder if our brains have a limit, like a cup, or if knowledge is truly endless, like an ocean. Consider something we do know, the human brain. Scientists have studied it for ages, knowing much, but so many secrets are still hidden within its folds. We understand some parts, but what about consciousness itself, or dreams, or intuition? These are vast unknowns. It's like mapping a new continent. With every discovery, new lands stretch out, showing us how much more there is to explore. So maybe the limit isn't a hard wall, but more like a horizon that keeps moving as we journey. Perhaps true wisdom isn't about reaching the end of knowledge, but embracing the endless wonder of not knowing everything. It keeps us curious and exploring. There's beauty in the mystery, a calm comfort in knowing the universe, and our own minds will always hold new surprises. Have you ever stopped to wonder if what you believe is truly real? Like really real? It's a question that has quietly puzzled minds for thousands of years. We talk about the truth all the time, right? We say things like, "Tell me the truth," or "That's a true story." But what is truth deep down? Here's the thing. Truth is often seen as something that matches reality, something that is correct or factual. If you say the sun rises in the east, that's considered true because it lines up with what we observe every day. It's a statement that reflects how the world works. But here's where it gets interesting. Many ancient thinkers, like those in old Greece, spent their whole lives wrestling with this idea. Plato, a famous philosopher, even explored if what we see with our eyes is the only truth, or if there's a deeper, more perfect truth we can't always touch or see. So for ages, people have tried to figure out how we know something is true. Is it because we see it? Is it because someone important said so? Or because it just feels right? Think about it like this. If a scientist says gravity makes things fall, that's a truth we can test and prove over and over. But what about something like chocolate ice cream is the best? Is that true? Well, for someone who loves vanilla, maybe not. So sometimes truth feels solid and unchangeable, like a rock. Other times, it feels more like a feeling or a personal experience, shifting a little depending on who's looking, and that's why it matters to think about it. It reminds us that while some things are facts for everyone, other truths might be personal. The journey of trying to understand truth isn't about finding one simple answer. It's about opening our minds, looking closely at the world around us, and questioning things with a kind heart. It's about realizing that sometimes the search for truth is just as important as finding an answer, helping us understand ourselves and each other better, piece by quiet piece. Have you ever wondered where your sense of right and wrong truly comes from? When you see something unfair or someone needs help, do you feel a pull to act? This is a question about morality and whether it's a feeling born deep inside us or something we learn over time. Here's the thing. Some people believe we are all born with a kind of inner compass, a natural understanding of what is good and bad. It's like a tiny seed planted in our hearts at birth. This idea has been around for a very long time. Ancient thinkers, like the Greek philosopher Socrates, believed that knowing what is good is a part of being human, and that our conscience guides us. They thought we have an innate ability to reason about justice and kindness. But then, others point out that our families, schools, friends, and even the stories we read or the shows we watch all teach us what is right and wrong. Religions often have strong moral codes, for example, showing us how to live. So, is it just what society tells us? Think about it this way. Imagine you see a younger kid drop their ice cream. Even if no one is watching, do you feel a tiny urge to help them? Maybe even just to feel sad for them. That feeling, that empathy, could be a sign that some part of our morality comes from deep inside. It's that quiet voice that sometimes tells us what to do, even when it's hard. So, does morality come from within or from the world around us? It's a beautiful mystery, isn't it? Perhaps it's a bit of both, a natural spark that is then shaped and strengthened by everything we experience. And that's why it matters. Thinking about this helps us understand why we feel certain ways and how we choose to live our lives. Have you ever stopped to think about where we really belong in this big, beautiful world? We build cities, invent technology, and sometimes it feels like we've risen above nature. But here's the thing. We are still very much a part of it. We are not just visitors on Earth. We are made of the same dust and starlight as everything else. This idea that humans are deeply connected to the natural world is not new. Long ago, many ancient cultures, like the indigenous peoples across North America, didn't see themselves as separate from the forests, rivers, or animals. They understood that their lives depended on the health of the land, and they saw everything as interconnected. They felt a kinship, like a family, with the plants and creatures around them. They believe we have a special role, not as rulers, but as guardians or caretakers, part of a much bigger web of life. Think about it this way. Your own body is a small ecosystem. You breathe in the air the trees make, you drink water from the rain cycle, and the food you eat comes from the earth. When you exhale, plants use your breath. It is like a kid dance, a constant exchange. We are part of this flow, this endless recycling of life. Just like a single leaf is part of a whole tree, and that tree is part of a forest, we are each a tiny, important piece of the vast natural world. So, if we are truly woven into nature's fabric, what does that mean for us? It means our actions echo through everything. It means our place isn't above, but within. We have a shared fate with the forest and oceans. When we understand this, it changes how we see ourselves, bringing a feeling of calm, belonging, and a gentle sense of responsibility. It reminds us that caring for nature isn't just a chore. It's caring for ourselves, for our home, and for every heartbeat on this planet. Imagine a small, whispered secret, not meant to harm, but to protect. Is there ever a time when not telling the full truth feels like the right thing to do? A lie, at its simplest, is saying something you know isn't true. For most of history, and in many cultures, telling lies has been seen as a broken promise, something that damages trust and unravels the threads connecting us. It's written in old rules and taught in homes. Honesty is always the best way. But here's the thing. Life isn't always black and white. Thinkers through time, from ancient Greek philosophers to modern writers, have wrestled with this idea. They wondered if there were times when a lie, sometimes called a white lie, could actually lead to a better outcome. It's like a quiet tug-of-war between a strict rule and the gentle whisper of kindness. Consider this. Your friends are planning a surprise birthday party for someone you all care about. You know the secret. If the birthday person asks, "Are you all planning something?" you might say, "Nope, nothing special happening." You're not telling the truth, but your intention isn't to hurt. Your goal is to keep the joyful surprise, to make someone happy. In this moment, the small untruth creates a moment of delight, a memory of shared joy. So, does that make the lie good? Or is it just less bad? The question isn't about whether we should lie often, but about exploring the complex corners of our choices. It invites us to think about the shadows and light in our actions, and how sometimes, even something that seems wrong can be wrapped in a feeling of caring. It's a reminder that truly understanding right and wrong often means looking beyond the simple rules and into the heart of why we do what we do. Have you ever stopped and really thought about what it's like to be you? Not just your body, but that quiet inner voice that thinks, feels, and knows it's alive. That feeling of simply being here right now, experiencing the world around you. That very feeling, that inner light, is what we call consciousness. In simple words, consciousness is your awareness. It's the part of you that knows you exist. It lets you see the blue sky, hear a song, feel happy or sad, and remember what you did yesterday. It's like your own personal movie screen playing inside your head, showing you your life from your unique point of view. For thousands of years, people have wondered about this. Ancient thinkers, like Plato, imagined it might be part of an eternal soul. Later, in the 1600s, a French thinker named René Descartes famously said, "I think, therefore I am." He meant that being aware of your own thoughts proves you are real. This deep self-awareness is a big part of consciousness. It's not just your brain working. It's the experience of your brain working. Think about your phone taking a picture of a flower. It records colors and shapes. But does your phone see the beauty of the flower? Does it feel anything about it? No, it just processes information. You, on the other hand, can look at that same flower and genuinely feel wonder or remember something it brings up. That rich inner experience is consciousness. It's what makes you different from a machine, and that's why it matters. Consciousness is the great mystery that allows us to connect with the world, with each other, and with our own deepest selves. It's what makes life, in all its complicated beauty, truly something to experience. Have you ever looked at the world around you and wondered if everyone sees it exactly the same way? Like, is the color red that you see the exact same shade of red your friend sees? Or is the warmth of the sun something everyone feels in precisely the same measure? It's a quiet thought, but it leads us to a big question. Is there an objective reality? Here's the thing. Objective reality means a world that exists just as it is, completely separate from our thoughts, feelings, or how we experience it. It's like if a tree falls in a forest and no one is around, does it still make a sound? An objective reality would say yes, because the sound waves happen whether a person hears them or not. It's the idea of a single, unchanging truth about the world, out there for everyone. People have thought about this for thousands of years. Ancient Greek thinkers, way back then, wondered if what we see and touch is just a shadow of a truer, more perfect reality. They questioned if our senses truly showed us the world as it is, or if they just gave us our own personal version. Even today, scientists study how our brains build our world from signals, and it makes us pause. We ask, is the world truly out there waiting to be seen, or is it also shaped by what's in here, inside our own heads? Think about a really strong smell, like your favorite food cooking. For you, it might smell amazing and comforting, but maybe someone else finds it too intense or even bad. is the smell objectively good or bad? Or is it goodness or badness, something that happens inside each person's nose and brain? And that's why it matters. Our unique experiences shape our personal world. So this question isn't easy to answer. Maybe there's a world that just is, and we each have our own unique window into it. This thought reminds us that our own experiences are truly ours, and it helps us understand that others might see things very differently too. It's a calm wonder about how much of our world is fixed and solid, and how much is beautifully, personally created by us. Have you ever looked at a painting or heard a song and felt something truly beautiful, but then someone next to you didn't feel the same way at all? Or maybe you thought a certain color combination was perfect, while your friend just shrugged? It makes you wonder, where does beauty truly live? Is it built into the thing itself, like a fixed ingredient, or is it something that happens inside of us? The old saying, "Beauty lies in the eye of the beholder," points to this very idea. It means that beauty isn't an actual quality that something has, like being red or heavy. Instead, it's a feeling or an experience that happens when we look at something. It's about how we connect with it, how it touches our own thoughts and emotions. So what one person finds stunning, another might just find ordinary, and both are right for themselves. For a long time, many thinkers, even ancient Greek philosophers, believed that beauty was a fixed thing. They thought there were perfect rules for what made something beautiful, like ideal shapes, proportions, or harmony. It was like a mathematical formula. A perfect statue, for example, had to have exact measurements to be considered truly beautiful by everyone. But over time, people started to realize that our personal feelings play a huge part. We began to understand that our experiences, our memories, and even our moods can change how we see things. Think about your favorite kind of music. Maybe it's a gentle melody that makes you feel calm, or a fast beat that makes you want to dance. This music isn't just a collection of sounds. It becomes beautiful because of how it makes you feel. Someone else might hear the same song and not feel that connection at all. The beauty then isn't just in the notes playing. It's in the quiet space where those notes meet your heart. So, if beauty lives within us, born from our own feelings, it means the world is filled with endless kinds of beauty. It means your unique way of seeing things is incredibly special and valid. And that's a pretty wonderful thought, isn't it? It suggests that beauty is a journey we each take, not a destination we all arrive at together. Think about a hidden treasure, buried deep underground. No one knows it's there. No map exists. Has anyone even seen it in hundreds of years? So, is it still true that the treasure exists? This question makes us wonder about truth itself. Does something have to be known or found out to actually be real? Here's the thing. We often think of truth as something solid and unchanging. Like, the earth is round. That's true whether you believe it or not, whether you've seen it from space or not. But what about things we haven't discovered yet? Is there right now a specific kind of plant growing on a distant planet, even though no human has ever seen it or even knows that planet exists? For a very long time, thinkers have wondered about this. Some ancient Greek philosophers, like Plato, believed there were forms, or perfect ideas of things that existed whether we knew them or not. So, a perfect circle exists in some way, even if no one has ever drawn one perfectly. But then, other thinkers, much later, like George Berkeley, questioned if things really existed, if they weren't being perceived, meaning if no one was seeing or thinking about them. He wondered if a table truly existed in a room, if no one was there to look at it. It's like this. Imagine there's a new, never-before-seen animal living in the deepest part of the ocean. It's been there for millions of years. Before we ever send a submarine down to find it, before any human knows it exists, is it still true that this animal is swimming around down there? Of course, it is. Its existence isn't waiting for our knowledge. So, here's what happened. Many people believe that truth is out there, independent of us. It just is. Our knowing it simply means we've discovered it. It's like stars in the night sky. They are there, shining brightly, even if clouds hide them from our view. Their light doesn't depend on us seeing it. This idea suggests there's a vast, unseen world of truths waiting to be found. It reminds us that our knowledge is only a tiny window into a much larger reality. And that's a beautiful thought, full of endless mysteries. Have you ever found yourself trying to figure out a tough puzzle? Or maybe you've tried to understand why something happened, piece by piece. That feeling, that quiet drive to make sense of things, is deeply connected to something called logic. At its simplest, logic is like a map for your thoughts. It's the art of thinking clearly, of building ideas in a way that makes sense, step by step. It helps us tell the difference between what's true and what's not, or what follows naturally from one idea to another. Think of it as a tool, one that helps your mind put things in order. People have been thinking about logic for thousands of years. Way back in ancient Greece, thinkers like Aristotle spent a lot of time trying to lay down rules for clear thinking. They wanted to understand how our minds could arrive at true conclusions, not just guess or hope. They saw logic as the very foundation for understanding the world, for debating ideas, and even for designing good societies. It was about seeing patterns and connections in a careful, structured way. Here's an example. Imagine you're trying to figure out why your bike tire is flat. You don't just randomly guess. First, you check the valve. Seems fine. Then you look closely at the tire itself for a hole. There's a tiny nail. You used a logical process of elimination and observation to find the cause. You followed a clear chain of thought to solve the problem. So, logic isn't just about rules in a textbook. It's about how we move through life, how we listen, how we question. It's about finding clarity in a world that can often feel confusing. It's the quiet path your mind takes when it tries to understand, when it seeks to build solid bridges between ideas. And that's why it matters. It helps us feel more certain, more grounded in our own thoughts, giving us a clearer view of the world around us. Have you ever wondered if the person you are right now is completely decided by birth, or if every moment you live changes you? It's a big question, and for centuries, thinkers have wrestled with it. Is our identity like a blueprint drawn before we're born? Or is it more like a sculpture, slowly taking shape with every single touch and turn of life? The idea here is simple. Does everything we go through, big or small, truly mold who we become? Think about it like this. Your mind, your personality, your beliefs. Are they set in stone from day one? Or are they constantly being written on, updated, and changed by what you see, hear, feel, and do? Some philosophers like John Locke from a long time ago believe we start out like a blank slate, an empty notebook. He thought we're born without any pre-written ideas or personalities, and that all our knowledge and who we are comes from our experiences in the world. So, every time you learn something new, meet someone different, or face a challenge, it's like a new word being written on your blank page. Consider someone learning to play a musical instrument, like the guitar. At first, their fingers might be clumsy, the notes might sound wrong, but with every practice session, every chord they learn, every mistake they make and fix, they're not just getting better at guitar. They're also building patience, discipline, and a sense of accomplishment. That experience of struggle and eventual mastery changes how they see themselves and how they approach new tasks in their life. It teaches them about perseverance. So, maybe who we are isn't just about what we're given at birth, but more about the journey we take. Every laugh, every tear, every lesson, every quiet moment of thought, they are all threads weaving together to create the unique tapestry of you. It suggests that our story is always being written, and we have a part in writing it with every step we take. Have you ever woken up from a dream, wishing you could have changed the ending? Maybe you were falling or trying to run, and your body just wouldn't do what you wanted. This brings us to a big question. Can we actually take charge of our dreams? This idea is known as lucid dreaming. That's when you become aware that you are dreaming while you're still in the dream itself. Imagine suddenly realizing, hey, this isn't real, I'm dreaming. And then, because you know it's not real, you might try to fly, or change the scenery, or make new things happen just by thinking about them. People have been curious about this for a very long time. Ancient cultures, like some indigenous groups and Tibetan Buddhists, had practices that were similar to lucid dreaming. They didn't just see dreams as random pictures. They saw them as a place to learn, solve problems, or even connect with spiritual ideas. For them, the dream world was a real place to explore, almost like another part of waking life. They believed it could offer deep insights into themselves and the world. Think of it like playing a video game. Most times, you're just going along with the story. But imagine if, in the middle of the game, you suddenly remembered you were holding the controller. You could then decide to make your character do anything you wanted, like jump over buildings or teleport to a new area because you knew it was just a game. Lucid dreaming is kind of like that for your sleeping mind. So, can we truly become the directors of our dream stories? Some people say yes, with a lot of practice and certain techniques. But here's the thing. Asking if we can control our dreams also makes us think about control in general. How much control do we really have over our waking lives? Over our thoughts? Our feelings? It's a quiet reminder of how deep and mysterious our own minds are. A whole universe waiting inside us, even when our eyes are closed. It makes us wonder about the freedom we have, both in dreams and when we're awake. Have you ever felt a sharp twist in your gut because something just wasn't fair? Maybe someone got blamed unfairly, or someone else received something they didn't earn. That gut feeling, that sense of deep wrong, is often our first encounter with the idea of justice. So, what exactly is justice? In simple terms, it's about what's right. It's about fairness and balance, making sure people get what they deserve. It's about setting things straight when they've gone wrong. Think of it like a scale. When things are just, the scale is balanced. When something unjust happens, the scale tips and justice tries to bring it back to level. People have wondered about justice for thousands of years. In ancient Greece, thinkers like Plato and Aristotle debated if justice was simply about following laws, or if a deeper, universal truth about fairness existed. Every culture has its own rules for what's fair, but the core idea, that longing for things to be right, stays the same. Here's the thing. Justice isn't always easy to apply. Imagine working hard on a group project, doing most of the work, but everyone gets the same grade. That feels unfair, right? Justice in that moment might mean your effort is recognized, or that the work gets divided more fairly next time. It's about finding the right balance, so things feel fair for everyone involved. This journey to understand justice is like trying to catch mist. It's always there, but hard to hold on to perfectly. It asks us to look closely at our actions and the world around us. It pushes us to think not just about ourselves, but about how our choices affect others. And in that quiet reflection, we begin to build a world that feels a little more fair, a little more balanced for everyone. Have you ever stopped to think about time? Really think about it? Not just minutes or hours, but time itself. Does everything have a start? And does everything eventually stop? We see this all around us. A seed sprouts, grows into a mighty tree, and then, after many years, it falls. Its life cycle complete. A song begins, plays its melody, and then fades into silence. So, what about the whole universe? The vast, endless stretch of stars and galaxies we call home. Does it too have a beginning, like a first breath, and an end, like a final sigh? This question has puzzled people for thousands of years, long before telescopes or spaceships. Ancient thinkers in different cultures wondered if the world was always here, like an endless ocean, or if it was created at a certain moment. Some believed in an eternal cycle where things kept repeating. But then, in more recent times, scientists looked at the universe and found clues. They developed ideas like the Big Bang Theory, which suggests our universe began with a sudden, incredibly hot burst of energy. This idea gives the universe a kind of birthday. And if it had a beginning, could it also have an end? Imagine a burning candle. It starts bright and new, giving off light and warmth, but slowly, steadily, the wax melts and the flame shrinks until it flickers out. Will the universe, like that candle, eventually run out of its energy, becoming cold and dark? Scientists talk about ideas like heat death, where everything spreads out so much it just becomes a cold, empty void. Or maybe it could pull back together in a big crunch. The truth is, we don't really know for sure. The answers are still out there, hidden in the deepest mysteries of space and time. But here's the thing. Just asking this question makes us feel small in a good way. It makes us think about how precious and incredible our own existence is, right here, right now, in this vast unfolding story of everything. It reminds us that even if we don't have all the answers, the journey of wondering is a beautiful one. When life gets really tough, or a big challenge looms, do you ever wonder if hope is just something that happens to you, or something you decide to feel? It's a quiet question, but a powerful one. Hope, at its heart, is that soft, gentle belief that something good is still possible, even when things look bleak. It's not just wishing, like wishing for $1 million. It's a feeling connected to a future we can work towards, or at least believe in. Think about the old stories, like the ancient Greek myth of Pandora's box. When Pandora opened the box, all kinds of terrible things flew out into the world. But one thing remained inside: hope. This story suggests that hope isn't something we create. It's always there, waiting, even after sadness and fear have been released. It's a part of being human. But here's the thing. While hope might always be present, choosing to embrace it, to let it guide you, that feels like a choice. Imagine you're working on a big school project, and it's much harder than you thought. You might feel like giving up, like there's no way you can finish it well. That's a moment when hopelessness can creep in. But you could also choose to hope. You could decide to believe that if you keep trying, ask for help, and break it down, you can get it done. That decision to keep going, to find the next step, that's where the choice might live. It's like choosing to water a tiny, fragile plant. The plant is there, but you choose to nurture it. So, is hope a force that simply washes over us? Or is it a quiet decision we make each day to keep looking for the light? Maybe it's both. Maybe hope is a gift already inside us, and choosing to open it, to use it, is a gentle act of courage. Have you ever seen a friend really sad and felt a quiet ache in your own chest? Or watched a movie character cry and found your own eyes getting watery? That feeling, that deep connection, is what we call empathy. Here's the thing about empathy. It's more than just understanding someone's feelings. It's about truly stepping into their shoes. It means feeling with them, not just for them. When someone is joyful, you feel a spark of that joy. When they are hurting, you feel a whisper of their pain. It's like your heart becomes a mirror, reflecting what another person is going through. Long ago, thinkers wondered about how we connect as people. Even in ancient times, they talked about understanding each other's inner worlds. They saw empathy as a key part of what makes us human. It's how we build communities and care for one another. Ancient Greek philosophers, for example, believed that sharing in another's experiences, even without living them yourself, was vital for friendship and wisdom. It's a way our minds and hearts reach out. And that's why it matters so much today. Imagine your classmate accidentally rips a big hole in their favorite jacket right before a presentation. You don't just think, oh, that's too bad. Instead, you might remember a time you felt embarrassed or upset. You feel a wave of their frustration and maybe a little sadness for them. That's empathy at work. It helps us see the world from different points of view. It allows us to understand why people act the way they do or why they feel what they feel. Empathy reminds us that even though we are all different, we share so much. It builds bridges between us, one heart connecting to another, making the world feel a little more gentle and a lot more understood. Imagine an idea that seems impossible, something that holds two opposing truths at once. Can such a thing really exist? It feels like a riddle, doesn't it? But these fascinating puzzles are what we call paradoxes. A paradox is simply a statement or a situation that seems to contradict itself, yet it might still hold some deep truth or make sense in an unexpected way. It challenges our usual way of thinking. People have been wrestling with paradoxes for thousands of years. Back in ancient Greece, a thinker named Zeno came up with famous paradoxes that question how we understand movement and time. For example, he argued that if a swift runner like Achilles raced a slow tortoise, Achilles would never catch the tortoise. Why? Because to reach the tortoise, Achilles would first have to get halfway there, then half of the remaining distance, and so on. He'd always have some tiny distance left. It sounds impossible, but it makes you stop and really think about what infinity means. So, can a paradox be true? Think about the saying, less is more. It sounds like a contradiction. How can having less of something actually result in having more? But if you simplify your room, getting rid of clutter, you might find you have more peace, more focus, and more space in your mind. Or, if an artist uses fewer colors, their painting might feel stronger and have more impact. Here's what I mean. Sometimes, by taking something away, you reveal something more powerful or meaningful underneath. Paradoxes remind us that life isn't always neat and tidy, fitting into simple boxes of true or false. They show us that sometimes contradictions aren't just mistakes, they're invitations. They push us to look beyond the obvious, to explore layers of meaning we might otherwise miss. They help us understand that truth can be complex, beautiful, and sometimes wonderfully confusing. And that's okay. Have you ever really stopped to think about the things you are absolutely sure of, the things you truly, deeply know? Or are some of those sure things actually just strong feelings or hopes? This is a question that thinkers have wondered about for thousands of years. What's the real difference between knowing something and simply believing it? Think about it this way. When we say we know something, we usually mean we have solid evidence, facts, or proof. It's like knowing that the sun will rise in the east tomorrow, or knowing that 2 + 2 = 4. There's not much room for doubt there. This idea of knowledge, something that is true and you can actually prove, has roots going way back to ancient Greece. Philosophers like Plato imagined knowledge as something stable, like a truth you could grasp firmly, something that wouldn't change. For them, true knowledge was like seeing something with perfect clarity. But believing is different. When you believe something, you accept it as true, often without that same level of hard proof. You might believe your best friend will always be there for you, even though life is unpredictable. Or you might believe that being kind is always the right choice, even if it doesn't always make things easy. These are powerful ideas, and they shape our lives just as much as facts do. Beliefs can come from trust, from faith, from personal experiences, or even from what we deeply wish were true. For example, you know the Earth orbits the sun because science has proven it with tons of data, but you might believe that life exists on other planets, even without direct proof, because it feels possible and vast. So, while knowing gives us a firm foundation, a clear understanding of what is, believing gives us something else: hope, meaning, and a way to navigate parts of life we can't fully prove. Both are essential, but they guide us in different yet equally profound ways. Have you ever found yourself staring at something ordinary, a blank wall, a scattered pile of thoughts, and then out of nowhere a fresh idea blooms, a new way to see, a different path to take? This gentle unfolding, this quiet magic, is what we call creativity. It's not just about painting or writing a song, though those are beautiful examples. It's truly about making connections, seeing possibilities where others might not, or taking old pieces and arranging them into something completely new and exciting. For centuries, people have wondered where this spark comes from. In ancient times, some believed it was a gift whispered by gods or muses, a kind of divine inspiration flowing into human minds. Think of ancient Greek storytellers, believing their words came from goddesses of art and knowledge. But later, as we began to understand our own minds better, thinkers started to see creativity not as something outside us, but as a deep human ability. They saw it as our power to imagine, to dream, to rearrange the world within our thoughts, and then bring those thoughts to life. It's about looking beyond what's expected. Here's the thing, creativity doesn't always need a paintbrush or a stage. Think about someone inventing a new way to solve a math problem that has always seemed stuck. Or maybe it's a chef making a dish from ingredients that usually don't go together, but it tastes amazing. Even when you're just figuring out how to organize your messy desk so it works better for you, that's creativity. It's that moment when your mind builds a bridge between what is and what could be. So, creativity isn't always a grand, dramatic moment. Often, it's a quiet whisper, a gentle nudge inside us that encourages us to explore, to play with ideas, and to make something unique. It's a reminder that we are all builders of worlds, first in our minds and then in the actual world around us. It's a quiet, powerful part of simply being human, helping us to see beauty and newness everywhere. Have you ever wondered if the colors you see or the sounds you hear are truly what's out there? Is that blue sky you see the same shade someone else sees? This simple question opens a huge mystery. Our eyes take in light, and our ears pick up sounds. Our brain turns those signals into what we experience. Think of your brain as a super smart interpreter. It doesn't just show you the world raw, it builds a picture from the information it gets. So what we see or hear isn't exactly the world itself, but our brain's personal version, like a movie it creates. For a very long time, thinkers have asked about this. Ancient Greek thinkers wondered if we saw reality or just a copy. They imagined people inside a cave, seeing only shadows cast by objects behind them, believing the shadows were real. This idea that our senses might only show us a limited version has puzzled minds for centuries. They wondered if the world out there is exactly as it appears in here. Consider how different creatures experience life. A dog sees fewer colors than humans. Its world is less vibrant. A bat uses echoes and sound waves to build a detailed picture, seeing with sound instead of light. These animals live in the same physical world, but their experience is completely different. Their senses are unique. Which view is real? It makes you pause and think, doesn't it? If our own minds constantly shape what we perceive, then perhaps each of us lives in our own unique world. Your personal way of seeing things is special. Truth can be a layered thing because everyone's understanding is touched by their own way of sensing. It's a quiet and beautiful puzzle. This connection between our thoughts and the world. Imagine for a moment if every single rule, every law, every unspoken agreement just vanished. What if there were no stop signs, no school bells, no rules for sharing, not even a basic understanding of what's right or wrong? Would it feel like ultimate freedom, like finally being able to do anything you wished? Or would it be something else entirely, something a bit unsettling? Here's the thing about rules. They are not just about limits. They are like invisible pathways that guide us, helping us live together in huge groups. They show us how to behave, what to expect from others, and how to stay safe. If these pathways suddenly disappeared, our world might turn into a wild, unpredictable place, almost like a river without banks, just overflowing everywhere. Thinkers through history have spent a lot of time on this very idea. For instance, people who lived in very early societies probably learned quickly that if everyone just did whatever they wanted, things would get very chaotic. It's a core idea in philosophy. Humans, without some kind of agreed-upon order, might struggle to build anything lasting or peaceful. They might only look out for themselves, leading to constant conflict. Picture a simple game like tag. If there were no rules, no boundaries, no "you're it," no fair way to win, it wouldn't be a game. It would just be people running around, maybe bumping into each other, with no real purpose. In a way, rules help create a kind of shared story for everyone, a way for us all to understand how this big, complicated game of life is played. They allow us to trust each other, to predict what might happen next, even if it's just knowing that a red light means stop. Without them, there's no common ground. Each step would be an uncertain one, full of questions and fears. Maybe we'd find new ways to connect in this wildness, but perhaps we'd just feel deeply lost, adrift on an ocean of endless choices with no lighthouses to guide us home. A truly ruleless world might not be free at all, but rather a place where we are all constantly afraid and perhaps deeply alone. Have you ever felt time itself change its pace? Like when summer vacation flies by in a blink, but a long school day seems to stretch on forever, moment by slow moment? We often think of time as a steady, unchanging river, always flowing forward at the same speed for everyone. But what if that isn't quite true? What if time can actually bend and shift? For a long time, people thought time was just a universal clock, ticking the same for every person and every star. It was like a giant, invisible ruler for everything that happened. But then, a brilliant scientist named Albert Einstein came along. He wondered about light and speed and how things look from different viewpoints. What he figured out changed everything we thought we knew about time. Einstein's idea, which he called relativity, suggests that time isn't so fixed after all. He said that time is actually woven together with space, forming something he called space-time. And here's the interesting part. This space-time can get stretched or squeezed. It means that time can actually slow down or speed up depending on how fast you're moving or how strong the gravity is around you. Think about it like this. Imagine you have a really fast car, way faster than anything on Earth. If you could drive it almost as fast as light, time for you would actually tick a little slower than for someone standing still. It's a tiny, tiny difference in our everyday lives, but it's real. We even see this with astronauts who travel at incredible speeds in space. They age just a tiny bit slower than people back on Earth. So, when they come back, they've lived through slightly less time. This isn't just a science fiction idea. It's a proven fact. Our GPS satellites, which help us find our way, even have to account for this time difference because they move so fast above us. If they didn't, your phone's map wouldn't work correctly. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? If time can truly slow down or speed up, then our experience of time might be more unique to each of us than we ever imagined. is not just a steady river, but perhaps a vast ocean with currents that ripple and flow differently depending on where you are within it. And maybe in some deep way, this means our moments are even more precious because their very flow can change. Have you ever stopped to think about your own name? Where did it come from? And does that name, the one people use to call you, truly shape who you are inside? It's a pretty deep question because on one hand, a name is just a sound, a label. But on the other, it feels like it carries so much more. So when we ask if our name defines us, we're wondering if it controls our personality, our path, or even how others see us before they ever really know us. Is it like a mold that shapes us, or just a tag on a unique package? For centuries, people have thought about this. In ancient cultures, names weren't just random sounds. They often held meaning a hope, a prayer, or a prophecy for the child's future. Like Sophia meaning wisdom, or Leo meaning lion. People believed the name itself could bring qualities to the person. So if your name meant brave, maybe you were expected to be brave. But think about it this way. Your name is like the title of a book. It might give someone a little hint about what's inside, or maybe it just sounds nice. But what truly defines the book isn't its title. It's the story written on all the pages. It's the characters, the adventures, the lessons. Those are the things you put into the book yourself, chapter by chapter, day by day. So while your name might be a starting point, a whisper from the past, it's your actions, your choices, your kindness, and your courage that truly tell the world who you are. Your name is what you are called, but your life is who you become. You are the author of your own story, far more than any label could ever be. Have you ever felt a sudden chill, a quick tightening in your chest when something unexpected happens? That feeling, often misunderstood, is fear. It's more than just being scared. It's a deep, powerful signal, an ancient alarm system built right into us. Think of it as your body's natural way of saying, pay attention. Something important might be happening here. At its simplest, fear is our brain's immediate response to danger, whether real or imagined. It's that quick jolt that makes your heart race, your breath catch, or your muscles tense. For thousands of years, this powerful feeling helped our ancestors survive. When a cave dweller saw a shadowy shape in the distance, fear would make them freeze or run, keeping them safe from predators. Early thinkers, like the Greek philosopher Aristotle, knew fear was a strong emotion, something that could stop us or push us forward. He saw how it connected to our desire to stay alive and avoid harm. Consider standing on stage, about to speak in front of your whole class. Even if there's no actual danger, your heart might pound, your palms might sweat. That's fear, not of a monster, but of embarrassment or failure. It's your mind trying to protect you from what it sees as a threat to your comfort or standing. It can make you super focused, or it can make you want to disappear. But what if fear isn't just about danger? What if it's also a quiet whisper, telling you what truly matters to you? It can highlight what you want to protect, like your loved ones, your dreams, or even just your peace of mind. By understanding what makes us afraid, we can begin to understand ourselves better, seeing not just what holds us back, but also what we truly care about. It's a part of being human, a shadow that helps us appreciate the light. So, the next time you feel that familiar tug, maybe pause and ask yourself, what is this fear truly trying to tell me about myself and the world around me? Have you ever wondered if someone could be completely, totally bad? Not just do bad things, but be bad with no goodness inside them at all? This idea, what we call pure evil, is a deep thought. It makes us wonder if there's a darkness so strong it doesn't even have a tiny spark of light. When we talk about pure evil, we imagine a person or action wanting only to harm others with no other cause. It's not revenge or fear. It's just evil for its own sake. But here's the thing. Most times when people do bad things, there are complicated reasons. They might be hurt or afraid or feel they have no other choice, even a wrong one. Thinkers throughout history have wondered about this. Some ancient philosophers, like Plato, thought evil was just not knowing what was good. They believed people did wrong because they didn't understand. Other beliefs, especially in religion, often picture pure evil as a force completely against goodness. But even this force sometimes has a story, a reason, like falling from grace. Think of it like this. Imagine a shadow. Is it pure darkness? Not really. A shadow is just where light is blocked. It needs light nearby to exist. In the same way, some wonder if evil is always just the absence of good or a twisting of something meant to be good. It's not a separate, completely dark force. It's hard to find a real-life example where a bad act has no reason beyond pure malice. Most human actions, even awful ones, usually come from a messy mix of feelings and past experiences. So, while the idea of pure evil is powerful and often used in stories, in our world, things are usually more complex. It makes us pause and think about the many shades of human nature. It reminds us that understanding why people do what they do is often much harder than just labeling them good or evil. Imagine for a moment, what if everything you see, hear, touch, taste, and smell isn't exactly real? What if the colors you see, or the sounds you hear, or the feeling of something rough or smooth are just your brain's way of understanding things? What if they're not the actual truth of the world? This question has puzzled thinkers for thousands of years. Can we really trust our senses? Our senses are like windows. They bring information into our brain. Then, our brain tries to make sense of it. But sometimes, these windows can be a little foggy, or they might even show us something different from what's truly out there. This idea isn't new. Way back, ancient Greek thinkers, like a philosopher named Plato, wondered about this same thing. Plato told a story, sometimes called the Allegory of the Cave. In it, people lived chained in a cave. They only saw shadows on a wall. They thought these shadows were real. They never knew there was a whole world outside. Much later, in the 1600s, a philosopher named René Descartes also wondered about all this. He questioned everything, even if he was truly awake or just dreaming. He even wondered if some trickster was messing with his senses. He famously said, "I think, therefore I am." It was his way to find just one thing he could be sure of. Think about optical illusions. You know those pictures that can look like two different things? Or think about when you spin around fast and then stop. The room still feels like it's spinning for a bit. Your eyes and inner ear are sending signals that don't quite match what's truly happening. It's not that your senses are broken, it's just that they can be fooled. Or maybe they just give us our special version of reality. So, if our senses aren't perfect, what does that mean for how we understand the world? It makes us wonder what true reality really is. It reminds us that what we experience is unique. It's filtered through our own bodies and brains. And that's not something to be scared of. It's a really interesting question. It opens up a whole new way of thinking, inviting us to be curious about how we know anything at all. Have you ever felt like some things in your life were just meant to happen? Like a surprise encounter, or maybe missing something important by just a second? That feeling touches on the idea of fate. It's the belief that everything happening to you, good or bad, is already decided. Think of it like your whole life story was written before you were even born. You're just living through the pages step by step. So even if you think you're making a choice, the final result is already set. For thousands of years, people have asked about this. Ancient Greeks like the Stoics believed strongly in fate. They thought the universe had a grand plan and we should just accept it. Trying to fight what's meant to be, they said, only caused pain. But then other thinkers, even today, talk about free will. This means we are free to make our own choices, and our decisions truly shape our future. They say our lives aren't a pre-written book, but an empty page we fill with our own actions. Think about a river. If fate is real, then the river's path is already cut deep into the land. The water has no choice but to follow it all the way to the ocean. Its twists and turns are fixed, but if free will is real, then the river is more like rain falling on an open field. Each drop chooses its own way, joins other drops, and together they actually create the path, changing the land as they go. It's a deep mystery, isn't it? If everything is fated, does that mean our efforts don't matter? And if we have total free will, does that mean every outcome is entirely on us? Maybe the truth is somewhere in the middle. Maybe we have freedom to choose, but sometimes the world brings us paths we never expected, making us wonder about hidden forces. It's a quiet thought, one that asks us to look at our lives not just as events, but as a journey woven with both choice and wonder. Have you ever stopped to think about why you chose the shirt you're wearing today? Or why you picked up this book? We make countless choices every day, big and small. But What if those choices aren't truly ours? This is the heart of free will. It's the idea that we, as humans, truly control our own decisions. It suggests our future isn't already set, and we aren't just puppets on strings. It's that deep feeling our actions come from us, from our own thoughts and desires. For thousands of years, people have puzzled over this. Ancient Greek thinkers, long ago, first asked if our lives are just a series of events already planned out, like a movie script we have to follow. Later, thinkers across the world wondered about this too. They asked if everything that happens, even our choices, is simply the result of what came before it. If the whole universe works like a giant machine, where one gear turns the next, then maybe our choices are just what happens naturally. So here's the thing, if everything is just cause and effect, maybe we don't have true freedom to choose. Think about a simple moment. You're at a vending machine, choosing between a chocolate bar and chips. You pick the chips. Did you really choose that freely? Or were your past experiences, your hunger, even your mood, already guiding you to that snack? It's almost like your brain made the decision before you even felt you chose. This question of free will isn't about finding one answer. It's about a quiet wonder. It invites us to consider if our lives are truly open roads we pave ourselves, or if we're just walking a path drawn long ago. And that's why it matters, because it makes us look at every choice, every action, with a deeper, more curious heart about what it truly means to be human. Have you ever felt like knowing too much about something just made you sad or worried? Sometimes it feels like knowing everything is a heavy backpack you didn't ask for. This idea that ignorance is bliss means it might be better not to know certain things. If you don't know about something bad or difficult, then you can stay happy and free from worry. It suggests that not having all the facts, especially the tough ones, can lead to a more peaceful life. This famous saying comes from an old poem written in the 1700s by a writer named Thomas Gray. He wrote about children playing happy and carefree because they didn't know the future troubles that life would bring as they grew up. For him, their happiness came from not knowing what was ahead. But throughout history, many thinkers, like the ancient Greek philosopher Socrates, believed that learning and knowing the truth, even if it's hard, is the best way to live a good life. They thought that understanding the world, both its good parts and its bad, was key to being truly wise. Still, some groups in history sought out a peaceful mind by trying to avoid things that would cause them distress. Think about a surprise party. If you accidentally found out about your own surprise party beforehand, the surprise part is gone, right? You still get a party, but that special moment of shock and joy from the unexpected is missing. In that small way, not knowing was part of the fun. It's like when you're watching a movie and someone spoils the ending. You might still enjoy the movie, but a bit of the magic is lost because you already know what's coming. So, does it mean we should stop learning or avoid difficult truths? Not really. It's more about wondering if knowing everything always makes us better off. Sometimes, knowledge helps us fix problems and grow stronger. But other times, carrying every piece of information, especially things we can't change, can weigh us down. The question isn't about being dumb. It's about finding a balance, about when a quiet mind, free from certain burdens, might actually be a gift. It makes you think about what kind of knowing truly helps us live a full and happy life. Have you ever looked at something difficult, maybe a big mistake or a really tough time, and wondered if anything good could possibly come from it? It's a quiet question, but one humans have asked for a very long time. This idea is about whether pain, loss, or hardship can actually lead to something positive, like new strength, deeper understanding, or even a fresh start. Thinkers throughout history have explored this. Ancient philosophers like the Stoics in old Greece and Rome believed challenges weren't random, but opportunities. They felt facing difficult things, like losing something important or failing, could make a person wiser and more resilient. It was like a workout for your spirit, making you tougher inside. And here's the thing. You can see this idea echoed in stories and myths across cultures, where heroes always face great struggles before achieving greatness. So here's an example to think about. Imagine a forest that has just gone through a wildfire. At first, it looks awful burnt, empty, full of ash. It feels like total destruction. But after a while, something incredible happens. New seeds, buried deep in the soil, start to sprout as the old, overgrown plants are gone. The ash fertilizes the ground, making it richer, and new, stronger life begins to grow from that burnt earth. It's not that the fire was good, but that good can emerge from the devastation. It's a powerful thought that even in our deepest hurts or biggest setbacks, there can be a chance for growth. This doesn't mean we should look for bad things to happen or that bad things are okay, but it helps us see that sometimes the difficult parts of life can actually carve out space for something truly beautiful and strong to take root. It's a quiet hope, isn't it? That from darkness, light can still find a way. Have you ever looked up at the night sky, filled with countless stars, and felt a tiny whisper inside you ask, "Why am I here?" Or maybe, after a really good day or a really hard one, you've wondered, what's the point of all this? This big question, what is the meaning of life, isn't just for old books. It's something every single person quietly thinks about. Here's the thing, this isn't about finding one single correct answer written down somewhere. The meaning isn't a secret code. It's about what makes your life feel important, valuable, and worthwhile to you. For thousands of years, people have wrestled with this idea. Ancient Greek thinkers, like Aristotle, believed happiness was the highest goal found by living well. Others, in different places, might focus on a spiritual journey, or serving their community, or creating something beautiful that lasts. They all tried to understand why we exist and what we should do with our time here. Think of it like building a complex Lego set. The instructions tell you how to build it, but the meaning of the Lego set isn't just the final model. It's the fun you have building it, the pride when it's done, or maybe even sharing it with a friend. The meaning is in the process, the connection, and what you make of it. So for us, maybe the meaning isn't a fixed destination. It's more like a journey. It's about the small moments that bring joy, the connections we make with others, the challenges we overcome, and the kindness we share. It's about discovering what matters to your own heart and then living in a way that truly reflects that. It's a personal journey, always unfolding, always inviting us to look a little deeper. And that's okay. Have you ever looked at an old photo of yourself and realized how much you've changed? Or watched the seasons turn from vibrant summer to quiet winter? It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Does anything really last forever, or is everything just changing? This question about permanence, about things staying the same versus constantly shifting, has puzzled thinkers for thousands of years. Take the ancient Greek philosopher Heraclitus. He famously said, "You can never step into the same river twice." He meant that the river is always flowing, always new water, and you, the person stepping in, are also always changing. For him, change wasn't just happening, it was everything. So, nothing truly stays the same, not even for a second. Here's the thing, imagine building a sandcastle on the beach. You make it strong, but then the tide comes in, the waves slowly reshape it, wash it away. Or think about a tree outside your window. It grows, its leaves change color and fall, then new ones appear. Even giant stars, bright as they are, eventually run out of fuel and change. This shows that even the biggest things are always moving and becoming something else. It can feel a little strange, maybe a bit sad, to think nothing lasts. But here's another way to see it. Because things change, because they don't last forever, every moment becomes precious. Every laugh, every sunset, every friendship is a unique spark. Constant change means there's always something new, always a chance for growth. Life is never stuck. It's always flowing, like that river. And that, in its own way, can be a really beautiful thought. Do you ever think about happiness like it's a finish line? Like, you'll be happy when you get a perfect grade, or when summer break arrives, or when you save for something cool. We often see happiness as a big prize at the end of a long road. But what if happiness isn't a goal you reach and keep, but more like a journey you're always on? If happiness is just a goal, it's like saying, I'll be happy once I get to the top of that mountain. Reaching the peak feels great, but what happens after? You come down, right? But a journey is about the whole climb. The steps, the views, the friends you hike with, even the tough parts that make you stronger. Long ago, the Greek philosopher Aristotle explored this. He talked about eudaimonia, a word for living a good, meaningful life. For him, happiness wasn't just a quick feeling. It was something you build daily, through good choices and growing. It was a process, not a destination. Think about learning to ride a bike. When you first start, you might fall a lot. But then you pedal a little, then a little more, and suddenly you're rolling. Was happiness only when you could ride perfectly? Or was there joy in small victories? In the wind, in the freedom, even if you weren't an expert? Often, the process itself, the trying and learning, holds the real happiness. So maybe happiness isn't a trophy you catch and hold. It's found in everyday moments, in how we choose to live. It's the sunshine, the laughter with friends, the quiet pride when you try your best. It's about finding joy in the path you're on, not just waiting for the end. Have you ever read a book and suddenly a character's feelings just click, or you're trying to solve a puzzle and then boom, the solution appears in your mind, clear as day? That moment, that clear feeling is a glimpse of understanding. It's more than just knowing facts. Knowing facts is like having a bunch of ingredients. Understanding is knowing how to bake a cake with them. It's when information doesn't just sit in your brain, it connects, it makes sense, and you see the bigger picture. Think about it like this. You can memorize that Paris is the capital of France. That's knowing a fact. But understanding Paris means grasping its history, its culture, why people love its art, and how its streets tell stories. It's a deeper, richer grasp. For centuries, thinkers have pondered this. Ancient Greek philosophers like Plato wondered about the difference between just having information and truly seeing the truth. They thought understanding wasn't just collecting bits of knowledge, but seeing how those bits fit together into a whole, like a beautiful tapestry. It's about moving from simply being told something to truly getting it in your heart and mind. Here's the thing. When you truly understand something, it feels different. It's not just a memory, but a part of you. Imagine trying to ride a bike. At first, you might know the steps, push pedals, steer handlebars, but you don't really understand riding until your body learns the balance, the rhythm, and suddenly you're gliding. That's understanding in action. It's a moment when confusion lifts and everything comes into focus. It's like a light turning on inside your head, illuminating paths you couldn't see before. And that's why it matters. Understanding allows us to feel more connected, not just to ideas, but to each other and the world around us, helping us navigate life with more wisdom and empathy. Have you ever stopped to think about the biggest, most quiet mystery there is? It's something that happens to everyone and everything alive, but we can only ever see it from the outside. Here's the thing about death. It's when life ends. The body stops working, the breath stops, the heart stops beating. It's the ultimate change, a final goodbye. For thousands of years, people all over the world have wondered about this moment. The ancient Egyptians, for example, believed that death was just the start of a long journey to another life. They prepared for it carefully, thinking of it as a path to eternity. And the ancient Greeks often talked about death like a peaceful sleep, a return to the earth, or even a trip to an underworld. So you can see, humans have always tried to make sense of this huge unknown. But can we really understand it? It's kind of like trying to understand what it feels like to be asleep if you've never been asleep before. You can see someone sleeping, know they're resting, but you can't truly know their dream from the outside. Or think about a story you're reading. You know when the last page is turned, when the story is over, but you don't actually experience the over part from inside the story itself. We can feel the sadness when someone is gone. We can see the stillness, but we can't actually feel what it's like to be dead, because to do so would mean we are no longer alive. And that's what makes it such a deep question. Death remains something we can think about, reflect on, and feel the effects of, but never truly know from within. It stays one of life's biggest, most whispered secrets, a part of the vast puzzle of existence. Have you ever looked back at something you did or something you didn't do and wished you could change it? That heavy feeling, like a knot in your stomach, is regret. It's when you wish a past choice had gone differently, leaving you with sorrow. It's a very human experience, an echo of what if or if only. Living without regret sounds truly peaceful, like a clear sky. But here's the thing, regret isn't always just bad. Many wise thinkers throughout history thought about this. Ancient Greek philosophers called Stoics, for instance, believed we should only focus on what we control now. They taught we can't change the past, so dwelling on it doesn't help. Instead, they urged people to accept what happened and learn. They moved forward with wisdom, seeing emotions like regret as something to manage. Imagine you promised to help a friend with a project, but then you got distracted and didn't. When your friend was upset, you probably felt that sharp pang of regret. You wished you had kept your word. That feeling, while uncomfortable, teaches you something important about responsibility and friendship. It shows you what you truly value. It's like a compass pointing towards your best self, even if it stings. So, is a life completely free of regret truly possible, or even something we should want? Maybe not. Every choice we make closes off other paths. We often only see the full picture of our decisions much later. Regret, in a way, is proof that we care, that we think about our actions, and that we want to grow. It reminds us we are always learning. Perhaps the real goal isn't to never feel regret, but to learn from it, to forgive ourselves, and to make kinder, wiser choices next time. It's about turning those if-onlys into next times. Have you ever stared up at the night sky, far away from city lights, and just felt small? Like a tiny speck looking at a vast, endless ocean of stars? That feeling gets at one of life's biggest questions. What is our place in the cosmos? The cosmos is just a beautiful word for the universe everything that exists, from the smallest atom to the biggest galaxy. For most of history, people thought our Earth was the absolute center of it all. The sun, the moon, the stars, they all seemed to circle around us. It made sense, in a way, to think we were special and central. But then, brave thinkers like Nicolaus, Copernicus, and Galileo Galilei looked closer. They showed us, gently but firmly, that Earth is actually just one planet, spinning around a much bigger star or sun. And our sun is just one of billions in our galaxy, which is just one of billions of galaxies. This idea can feel a little overwhelming, right? Like you're a single grain of sand on an endless beach. But here's the thing, even that tiny grain of sand is unique. It has its own shape, its own story from the rocks it came from. Our place in the cosmos isn't about being the physical center. It's about being here, now, to experience it. We are made of the same stardust that makes up everything else. We are connected. So, when we look out into that infinite darkness, maybe our place isn't about how big we are. Maybe it's about the unique gift of being aware, of being able to wonder. We are tiny, yes, but we hold the entire universe in our minds when we think about it. And that, in itself, is a kind of special. Have you ever stopped to wonder about time itself? We usually think of it as a river, always flowing forward, from yesterday to today, and then to tomorrow. What happened is done, right? But this question asks something much deeper. Can what hasn't even happened yet somehow reach back and alter what already was? It sounds impossible, like something from a movie. Our common sense tells us that a cause always comes before its effect. You drop a glass, and it breaks. The future act of sweeping up the pieces doesn't make the glass unbroken, but philosophers and even some scientists have played with this idea for ages. Ancient thinkers debated if our destiny, a future event, was already set, and if that future somehow made our past actions necessary. It's not about literally changing events, but more about how events in the future might shape the meaning or impact of things that have already occurred. Think about it like this. Imagine you're practicing for a school play, and you mess up a line badly during rehearsal. It feels embarrassing right then. But then, a few weeks later, you perform the play perfectly, and everyone loves it. That future success, the perfect performance doesn't erase the past mistake, but it definitely changes how you feel about that past mistake, doesn't it? The embarrassment fades, and maybe it even becomes a funny story about how far you came. The past event itself didn't change, but your perception and its importance did. So, while we can't rewind time and make yesterday disappear, our future experiences and choices can completely reshape how we view our past. It means that the story of our lives isn't just written once and then fixed forever. It's constantly being retold, reframed by every new chapter we live. It's a quiet reminder that even though the clock moves forward, our understanding of what's gone by is always shifting, always alive. Have you ever looked at a dream right after waking and wondered, was that real, even for a moment? Or seen an optical illusion where your eyes trick you? This feeling, this moment of questioning what's genuinely true versus what just seems true, brings us to one of philosophy's biggest puzzles. What is the nature of reality? This question isn't just about what we can touch or see. It asks if there's a deeper, unchanging truth behind everything. Is the world exactly as our senses tell us, Or is there something else going on, a hidden layer we don't perceive? It makes us consider the very fabric of existence, what is truly there whether we observe it or not. People have thought about this for thousands of years. In ancient Greece, a thinker named Plato shared a story called the Allegory of the Cave. He imagined people chained inside a cave, only able to see shadows dancing on a wall. They believed these shadows were everything, their whole world. But outside the cave, real objects were casting those shadows. The true world was totally different from what they saw. For them, the shadows were reality. Think about playing a super detailed virtual reality game. When you're inside that world, it can feel so real. You might flinch if something rushes past, or feel a sense of height from a digital cliff. Yet, you know it's made of code and light. Or imagine how a bat sees the world using echoes, completely different from our vision. Their reality is built on sound, not light. So, is our world more like Plato's shadows, or a vast VR game? We don't have a simple answer, and maybe we never will. But here's the thing. Just asking this question stretches our minds. It makes us pause and reflect on how much we take for granted, and how our unique way of experiencing the world shapes what we call real. It reminds us that there's wonder in the unknown, and that even the ground beneath our feet holds mysteries worth pondering. Have you ever stopped to think about who you really are? Not just your name or your age, but the deepest part of you, the thoughts and feelings that make you, well, you? Is that inner you a solid, unchanging thing, like a mountain that stands forever? Or is it more like a river, always flowing, always moving, always becoming something new with every ripple? For thousands of years, people have wondered about this very idea. An ancient Greek philosopher named Heraclitus famously said you can never step into the same river twice. What he meant was, everything in the world, including us, is always changing. The water in the river is constantly new, and even you are different, if only a tiny bit, from the moment before. He thought change was the only constant. But then, other thinkers, like the philosopher John Locke much later, argued that maybe there is something that connects us to our past selves, our memories, our consciousness, creating a kind of continuous person, a sense of a stable I that lasts through time. Think about yourself from elementary school. Do you feel like the exact same person now? Maybe you loved superheroes or drawing silly pictures then, but now you're really into coding, or playing a musical instrument, or learning about history. Your favorite foods might have changed, your best friends might be different, and your thoughts about the world have certainly grown and changed. Even your body changes, right? You get tailored, your voice might change, but still, a part of you knows it's you who experienced all those things. So, is your identity like a sturdy house that stands strong through every storm? Or is it more like a cloud, constantly shifting shape and drifting across the sky? Here's the thing, maybe it's both. Maybe we have a core, a spirit, a unique way of seeing the world that feels uniquely us. But around that core, our experiences, our learning, our friendships, our mistakes, and our dreams all work together to help us grow and change. And that's why it matters. It means we're always becoming, always learning, always on a journey. Who you are today isn't necessarily who you'll be tomorrow, and that's okay. It's part of the beautiful unfolding of being human, a gentle, continuous journey of discovering who you are meant to be. Have you ever looked in a mirror and wondered, who is that looking back? Or, when you remember something from years ago, do you think about who you were then versus who you are now? That feeling, that sense of being you, is what we often call the I. But what is it, really? Is it your body, your thoughts, your feelings, your memories? Here's the thing. Trying to pin down the I is one of the oldest mysteries. Imagine a famous thinker named René Descartes. Hundreds of years ago, he sat by his fireplace and decided to doubt everything he could. He doubted his senses, his dreams, even if the world around him was real. But then he realized something he couldn't doubt. The very act of thinking. He reasoned, I think, therefore I am. This meant that even if everything else was an illusion, the part of him that was doing the thinking, the doubting, had to exist. That thinking part, to him, was the core of the I. But is it just our thoughts? Think about your favorite video game character. They might change their clothes, gain new skills, and even get a different name, but they're still fundamentally the same character in the game, right? In a similar way, your body changes constantly. Every few years, almost every cell in your body is replaced. Your memories shift, and your opinions evolve. You're not the same person you were when you were a baby, or even last year, but there's still that continuous thread, that sense of you, that links all those moments together. So, the I isn't a fixed thing, like a stone. It's more like a river. A river is always flowing, always changing its water, its path, its shape, but we still call it the same river. It's the same for us. Our I is this flowing, evolving, mysterious thing that we carry with us through all of life's changes. It's the constant quiet presence that makes you you, even though it's always becoming something new. And that's a pretty amazing thought, isn't it?